people in Hokage. I Naruto just want daily life author, daily fishing. Synopsis. I just want to start a small business and support my family. Why can't you just let me go? While sighing helplessly, Naruto threw away the corpse in his hand, and then looked at a few people who claimed to be Otsutsuki's main family with horrified faces not far in front of them. Not a virgin, not licking, not working for the third generation project, but not leading villains, relaxed and funny in daily life, occasionally pretending to be a bee. Chapter 1 hundreds of thousands of dollars per second. Naruto, this is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. As long as you complete this little test I gave you, you will be able to pass the Genin exam immediately. Mizuki-sensei, forget it, I've said it all, I'm not interested in ninjas anymore. Glancing at the handsome man with a gentle smile in front of him, Naruto said a little angrily. Are you really not interested at all? You used to be. The past is the past, and people will change. If there is nothing else, I will start working. I know, but the opportunity is still reserved for you. If you change your mind, I will wait for you at any time. Having said that, but the smile on the handsome man's face was hard to tell how stiff it was. He had to bite the bullet before finishing this sentence, and then left. But when he turned his face away, the smile on his face instantly changed to a gnashing of teeth, a ferocious expression full of unwillingness. Lozi has hundreds of thousands of dollars per second, will you trick him into rebellion? Save yourself. However, even if Naruto didn't see this scene, after the young man left his house, he curled his lips and complained disdainfully, but his hand still made a cross shape, and then a cloud of smoke came out, and 4 blonde boys who looked exactly like him appeared, and then they began to work skillfully on the stacks of drawings in front of them. Storyboarding, refinement, coloring, inspection, and himself, who is slowly drawing the original manuscript. 2 years ago, when he traveled to Konoha village and became Uzumaki Naruto 2 years before graduation, he was still a little excited. After all, as an otaku, he still yearned for these wonderful battles in the Hokage world. Moreover, as the male protagonist, he has the constitution and 9 tails of the Uzumaki family, and he also has the opportunity to activate the power of 6 paths. In the original book, he became a divine-grade character at the age of 17. Anyway, he is a ruthless character. But he has given up now. After all, seeing the villagers and the so-called flowers of the future of the village looking at him with hostile eyes every day, and those troublesome conspiracy theories, he is really tired, and it is better to stay away from the battle. It just so happens that he is good at painting, and he also passed the art test to enter university before, so he brought over those famous comics from the past. Anyway, there is no such thing as copyright, so he might as well use it to make money. That is, during these 2 years, the manuscript fees he earns every month are already comparable to a certain perverted toad. In this case, what kind of ninja is he going to be? Of course, if you really get along like this, it will be a dead end sooner or later, not to mention pain Obito or something in the back. The Konoha collapse plan in the early stage alone may have put him in the ground. But in fact, he is not really worried about those things now. After all, congratulations to the sales volume of your serialized manga Shinigami, which has exceeded 10 million copies. You have successfully learned footwork middle-ring rotation. Drawing manga can also make you stronger. I don't know how long it took to draw, but after hearing this familiar voice that suddenly appeared in his mind, the corners of Naruto's mouth curved slightly, and the 4 shadow clones beside him also nodded at his body at this time, and then it turned into a cloud of smoke and disappeared. According to your talent, the system has automatically and successfully awakened to become a divine-grade cartoonist system. When you start to serialize comics, as long as you achieve a certain comic score, you will be able to get corresponding generous rewards. Probably rewards for this comic, small probability is a random manga reward. It will tend to choose the ability you may need. Currently a free physical examination is available. It is detected that several special forces hidden in the body are interfering with each other. May I ask if you have started to reconcile? The reconciliation is successful. At present, your constitution has been automatically upgraded to 6 paths immortal body, primary. Under normal circumstances, you can perfectly suppress the power of the tailed beast. When he started thinking about making money from comics, at least relying on his own money to support himself, such words suddenly appeared in his mind, and he felt that his body began to feel extremely relaxed. After that, he can also easily use 3-body technique, and even shadow clone can be easily used. Now that there is such a cheat, he will naturally not foolishly let himself bury his head in hard training, but start drawing manga. He is already very diligent, and with the help of the shadow clone who communicates with each other, he is even more I don't know how many times faster. However, he did not open new comics blindly. It does not mean that the rewards for new comics come quickly, and the rewards must be good, nor does it mean that the higher the force value written, the better the rewards. For example, his serial 7 Dragon's Ball has already drawn the Artificial Man chapter, but it just rewarded him with a few small fairy beans, and added a constitution that is easier to break through at critical moments with his emotions. In terms of strength, he is not it's too obvious an improvement, but he doesn't like this kind of constitution that only the protagonists of hot-blooded comics have. Having said that, now is not the time to think about it here. His cute little Hinata should have gone home to Tilda. It's time to dress up, dress smartly, buy some flowers, and visit Tilda. By the way, I also want to buy something for my father-in-law and sister-in-law. It doesn't matter if it's expensive or not, the key is to find what you like. It's too rude to come in from other people's house with your face covered. But at this time, Naruto suddenly turned sideways, looking at the masked man who suddenly appeared and posed in a rogue squat posture. Sure enough, it still appeared. Chapter 2 Kakashi, come out and close the window. That's really rude, sorry, but as ninjas, we are used to doing this. If you want more privacy, just keep the windows and curtains in place. The newly appeared young masked man with only one eye exposed spoke calmly, as if it was only natural for him to do so. But Naruto naturally ignored him. He knew that this person had such a temper. But as it happens, his own temper is similar. Then go out for a while, I'm going to close it now. Just issue an order to expel the guest. Before that, how about listening to the advice of the third generation? Do you want me to be Genin, or should I be Anbu? Oh? You know? But what the masked man didn't expect was that as soon as Naruto opened his mouth, he said what he wanted to say, as if he had a mind-reading skill. You don't have to think about it. It just means that Konoha is currently employing people. It's a pity that you have such a good talent. It's a pity to draw manga. Hurry up and help me to restore Konoha. Let's forget about that. Life is good now. I don't have time to talk to him. I won't go anyway. Do you have anything else to say? Take Kakashi. You've already said this, so what else do I need to persuade you? The masked man, Kakashi, the teacher in Naruto's original book, looked at Naruto with a depressed face at this time, not knowing what to say. Originally, he had prepared a series of words, soft and hard, intimidating, and even wanted to play the emotional card, just to persuade him to become a ninja, or secretly become Anbu directly. Because the Lord Third Generation said that Naruto is very talented and powerful, and in his career, no one can match it. If you can't become a ninja and work for Konoha, it would be too wasteful. That's so exaggerated. Even Kakashi, who has always respected the Lord of the Third Generation, for the first time began to doubt whether Master Hokage is dementia. You know, just 2 years ago, Naruto's evaluation was all crane tail. And when Naruto was very young, he personally observed Naruto carefully. His talent is really not good. Maybe it is because of the influence of Nine Tails, so his grades have always been bottom to bottom. Until these 2 years, he suddenly said that he couldn't go to school, so he stayed at home and drew manga. Although he was forced to go to school later, he still only knew how to draw in class. He made a lot of money. But how could there be any improvement in strength? In fact, from Kakashi's own point of view, he doesn't really want Naruto to be a ninja. Bad talent, stupid brain. Now I don't even have the desire to become stronger, can make money to take care of myself, and live a life without worrying about food and clothing. Isn't it great? Actually, there is a very powerful organization staring at you now. Although we have our protection, if you don't even have the ability to protect yourself, it will be difficult for us to take care of you. But there is no way. Now there is a last resort. This child has no sense of safety at all. With this mentality, it is impossible to survive in this ninja world. I don't need your protection. But Naruto said it indifferently, making Kakashi shake his head too. It seems that if he doesn't show his skills, he still doesn't know the reality of this world. I know you are very confident, but when the real danger comes, you are. Remember to close the window for me. What? Exclamation mark. But at this time, before he finished speaking, Kakashi's eyes widened, and he couldn't help shouting out loud. Because obviously Naruto's figure was still standing in front of him. But outside the window, not far behind him, Naruto's voice suddenly came. And in an instant, the figure of Naruto in front of him also disappeared instantly, as if he had never appeared before. After image? Is this the body flicker technique? It must be too fast. Teacher, your son really is the best. After a long silence, Kakashi finally came to his senses, walked to the window, looked at the blonde boy walking slowly downstairs outside the window, couldn't help recalling that stalwart figure back then. I just came here empty-handed. I don't know if I will be disgusted. Naruto couldn't help but mutter to himself looking at the large ancient mansion not far away, and the gate with Hyuga written on it. It took a little longer than expected to dress up at home just now, and I also encountered Kakashi blocking the way. It is already sunset now. Fortunately, the old man has more house rules, and the meal time has not yet arrived. But anyway, it was also a good day for her genin to graduate, and he just came here empty-handed, and it seemed a bit unhealthy. Forget it. Let's talk about it first. After being disturbed by Kakashi, I feel too lazy to buy those gifts, but fortunately, he still has a backup. Yo, Naruto is here. Today we came to see our little princess again. If anyone in common sees it here, they will be surprised. After seeing Naruto's figure, the two twin-like white-eyed guards standing at the door actually smiled and extended their hands to say hello. The smiles on their faces were quite enthusiastic. You know, these people usually have eyes on the top of their heads, and the common people don't care at all. Yeah, big brother left, big brother right. Please inform me. And Naruto greeted Kakashi with a completely different sunny expression from just now. What's the announcement? We're all on our own, so just go in. Remember to bring us 2 new ones when you come over next time. Sure. After hearing the guards murmur and seeing another person nodding in agreement, Naruto nodded dumbfounded, and then walked into the compound. 8 trigrams 32 palms. But the moment he came in and closed the door, and turned around, he suddenly heard a childish shout, followed by a powerful palm wind. Chapter 3 Chakra rose. The first time he felt this palm wind, what Naruto felt was not panic or anger, but a little helplessness. He moved his right foot back half a step, and then turned his body slightly sideways, barely dodging the palm wind. The original powerful impact turned into a head-on blow in the scorching summer heat at this instant. A gust of cool wind is generally cool and refreshing. And his right hand also stretched out at this time, and grabbed the white tender little hand that attacked him, and used his left hand to grab another small hand that wanted to attack him again immediately. The two of them, the 4 hands, also crossed together immediately. Don't play like this every time, Hanabi. Naruto looked at the immature girl with shoulder-length short hair in front of him, dumbfounded, looking a little headache. This is not an act. Although there is a big difference in strength, this little girl always looks like this every time they meet, which still makes people feel a little troublesome. HMPH. This is not just for fun, it's to test whether you are qualified to be my brother-in-law. This time you are considered qualified, but if you can't hide next time, I won't agree with you. The slender little Hanabi is not as lively as someone said. Now she is still rigid. Of course, there is such a cuteness in this way, Tilda. Okay, I will try my best to keep it. Come on, this is a gift for you. Naruto patted Hanabi's head with a smile, then took out a handful of kunai from his bosom and put it in her hand. The kunai seems to be just a very common kunai. The material is common, and it is not sharp. It is just a small ring with a light pink hanging on the bottom with a rope, which means it can fit Hanabi's fingers. What? I just tied something up. It's fancy, it's not helpful for the battle. Complaints are nothing but complaints, but Hanabi used his fingers to trap the small ring, and then kept spinning in circles there, looking like he had a lot of fun. There are many things in life that are more meaningful than fighting. Girls still have to treat themselves better, so that they will look cuter and more likable. HMPH, I haven't seen how kind my sister treats me. Hanabi snorted coldly, then turned around and walked into the back room, leaving Naruto where he was. But it can be seen from her slightly flushed cheeks that she may be more happy now. Well, although he looks serious, he is actually just a playful little guy at heart. Otherwise he wouldn't have become so cheerful in the original book. Naruto-kun. You're here. But soon, an obviously shy and nervous girl's voice came from the direction of the back room just now, and I saw a cute white-eyed girl who was about the same age as Naruto standing there, greeting Naruto with a blushing face, and beside her, stood Hanabi just now, with dissatisfaction still on his face. Yeah, to celebrate Hinata, you graduated and officially became genin. Of course I'm going to celebrate. It's nice to say, celebrate, but you don't look like you're bringing any gifts. Isn't it just another suffering? Hanabi pursed her mouth and complained angrily, while Hinata on the side gently pulled her hand, signaling her not to continue talking, but because the pulling force was too small, people thought she was acting like a spoiled child. Hinata is still so cute. Naruto did a lot of different things from the original book after time travel, but for Hinata, he will never give up. Such a good girl. Naruto in the original book didn't understand her intention until the end. Here, of course, he won't let her wait so long. Of course not. Naruto smiled, then stretched out his right hand, with the palm up, pointing at Hinata's direction just like that. But there was nothing on it, which confused both Hinata and Hanabi even wanted to get angry, thinking that Naruto was teasing them. Hey, are you kidding us? It's not everything ... huh? But in the middle of the conversation, she couldn't continue, and Hinata on the side couldn't help covering her mouth with her hands, showing a shocked look. Because in Naruto's empty hand, dozens of small water balls floated up in a blink of an eye, and the small water balls swallowed each other. After a while, only one larger one remained, and then a small whirlwind burst out and was directly pressed into the water polo, spinning quickly together with the water polo. Of course, this scene didn't stop. If it's just a ball, it can't be used as a gift. The spray of the water polo spread slightly outward, and the surface of the water polo gradually began to crystallize. A gust of cold air gradually radiated from the surface of the water polo, gradually turning into hardened crystals. After a while, a blue rose appeared on the 3 in front of people's eyes. It is life lag. There is still a streamer moving inside, and the surface is constantly shining like stars. The control power of the water element having element in this hand is absolutely excellent. This is the ice modeling magic in Fairy Tail. Well, it's almost time come. my princess. Responding slightly to Hanabi, who exclaimed, Naruto continued to smile and handed the blue rose to Hinata. After hearing this name, Hinata naturally blushed immediately, but still reluctantly held the rose carefully. As a result, feeling the icy breath above, Hinata felt even hotter on his face. Ah! Father, father, father. But at this time, there was a sudden coughing sound from the side, and a middle-aged man with serious eyes was standing there, looking at them with a cold face, which caused the two little girls to react quickly and become stiff. Uncle, hello. Well, here you are. Sit inside. The two of you are outside first. Yes. X2. Seeing Naruto greet him with a smile, the middle-aged man also nodded, and then glanced at the rose beside him. His white eyes also showed surprise, but he turned his head quickly, went in directly, and Naruto soon followed, leaving only the two sisters in place. However, Naruto has apparently been abandoned. The eyes of the two were still on the blue rose, and they couldn't move away. After all, beauty is a girl's nature. Chapter 4. Let him go. In the house of the Hyuga family, in a slightly dark room, a 12-year-old boy was sitting opposite a 40-year-old middle-aged man, with a shogai board in the middle. The facial features of the two sides are very different, and it is obvious that they are not father and son. Judging from this scene alone, common people may think that some young chess player is ignorantly challenging a certain shogai master. But in fact, anyone who knows a little bit of shogai will know that the young side has already occupied the absolute advantage on the field, while the middle-aged side is already at the end of its rope. If someone who knew him saw this scene, he would be very surprised. After all, this middle-aged man is the head of the strongest Hyuga clan in Konoha village, Hyuga Hiashi. He has always been known for his serious and cold attitude, but now he is killed like this by a junior. It is really embarrassing for him. Admit defeat. How are your recent results? But Hiashi himself calmly announced that he had surrendered at this time, and then quickly set up the chess pieces with the boy again. He didn't seem to be angry at all, and his temper was surprisingly good. Of course, he wasn't really such a good-tempered person. He didn't lose his temper simply because he was inferior in this aspect, and he lost to this kid. This 12-year-old has quietly changed Hyuga's child by himself. It's not bad, life is passable. The blonde boy responded with a smile, and moved his chess pieces leisurely. It was completely invisible from this leisurely look that he was talking to the head of the Hyuga clan. Of course, it was even more invisible that he was talking to the head of the Hyuga clan. Talk to your future prospective father-in-law. This boy is naturally Naruto. After being called in by his father-in-law, he started to play chess with him. This is not a strange thing, because it was like this before, but so far, he or she hasn't won once. There is no way, after all. He has learned the chess skills of the hero in the prison meal of a certain Dragon King. Even if Shikamaru and his further play against him, they will lose more than they win, let alone Hiashi. Of course, don't get me wrong. He didn't draw this kind of manga, it's just randomly selected by the system. Although the probability is small, it will still draw the abilities in other manga. And among these abilities, many are not used for combat, such as cooking skills, writing, housework abilities, etc. But they are all randomly selected, so he, an otaku, has somehow become omnipotent for housework, and he is quite good at all aspects, not to mention shogai, even chess, go and backgammon. He is also quite high level. Fortunately, the selection of the system is very user-friendly. There are basically no repeated abilities, and basically they are used in his life, and it is very convenient to use, and there is nothing wrong with it. Well, I also heard about you in the clan recently. Everyone praised you for doing a good job. The Marine 6 styles that I brought over has worked very well. It's just that the effect on the Hyuga clan is better. After all, they are better at melee attacks. It is always better to have more means. Naruto shrugged and said lightly. He didn't have any feelings for Konoha, and he didn't say how strong he wanted to train the Hyuga clan. He just wanted more chips before. After all, at that time, although he was not poor or white, he was just a no-name boy with a few small money. But how could he be compared with a big family like the Hyuga clan, let alone their eldest lady? So close. But now the situation has been reversed. The people of the Hyuga clan have also gone from contempt at the beginning to admiration and even worship now. It's realistic, but also normal. Originally, they were a group of people who admired strength. In terms of physical skills, a little boy in his early teens was able to help them improve. He also created a training method that suits them, and even easily defeated them in a competition. The jonin in their clan has to admire. What's more, Hiashi also told the tribe in private that Naruto is actually the son of the dead fourth Hokage. Although it has not been exposed yet, at least for the Hyuga clan who value bloodlines more than life, talent is very important, and Naruto's talent is even far ahead of the geniuses of their generation on top of Neji. Well, although there are still some diehards on the elder side who think that foreign sons-in-law should not be recruited, the younger clansmen have basically agreed with him. So now he doesn't feel any dislike for the Hyuga clan. Anyway, they will be regarded as his own family in the future, and there is nothing wrong with helping them. Well, it's true. By the way, Third generation said they want you to join Anbu. You let him play by himself. I'm not in the mood. Sorry, uncle. Sure enough, this side was also requested. After all, Hyuga was already close to third generation, and it was normal. But emotion cards are useless. Don't think you can use Hiashi to overwhelm him. The old man's idea is quite beautiful. Well, there is another one, Konoha's advisor Shimura Danzo, who wants to invite you to join the route. Oh, please help me to have a word with him, uncle. Now all kinds of cats and dogs can bother him. Although he doesn't like the third generation project, after all, he has brought up Naruto under normal care, and he can still open his eyes and close his eyes. Oh, what is it? Let him go. But if this kind of thing dares to come over, it can roll as far as it can. If he dares to find fault, he doesn't mind giving this guy a ride. Ha 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 ha. Good. Have backbone. Unexpectedly, Hiashi looked happier than him and laughed out loud in front of him for the first time. It seems that my father-in-law is also annoyed by Danzo's old stuff. Chapter 5 Naruto, I'm a businessman. Naruto, it seems that you are indeed very aware of the current situation. This is indeed a good thing. But you still have to be careful in everything. Although with your current strength, unless Danzo personally takes action against you, there is no need to worry too much. But just in case. After laughing, Hiashi quickly adjusted his state and began to speak earnestly. Although he is a junior, it should be said that he is 2 generations behind. Danzo is also a person of the same generation as the third generation, so no matter what, he would not attack a child. But it is not without precedent after all. Isn't Uchiha Itachi the best example? Yes, Hiashi actually already knew the truth about the Uchiha clan's genocide. As the patriarch of the Hyuga clan, he holds a very important position in Konoha, and there are not many secrets that he does not know. Not to mention, still the former rival. The Uchiha clan is reduced to this point because they are too ambitious and want to have more rights. But what is this trick called? Kill chickens and monkeys. Danzo also hinted at them. If the Hyuga clan wants to continue to take root in Konoha, don't think about rebellion nor anything. Just don't use those crooked brains. Of course, the vast majority of their family didn't have that kind of thought, and they don't need to care about it. It's just that Danzo's approach still makes them a little dissatisfied. What is this? Don't worry, uncle, I know what's going on. Seeing that Naruto was still nodding with a smile, Hiashi nodded. Neither surprised nor pleased, neither humble nor overbearing. No matter who he faces, Naruto always has this attitude, which makes him very satisfied. A person with a mature heart rarely shows such exaggerated emotional changes because of one thing, and Naruto's attitude has been like this since the first time he met. He is not really as immature as his appearance. But what are you planning to do in the next period of time? Are you planning to continue drawing manga? Actually, I think with your talent, you can do more other things. Of course, Hiashi still has some opinions on Naruto's work. Although 12 years old is still a child, in the world of ninjas, this is already the age that needs to be responsible for oneself, and even went to the battlefield before. Naruto's talent is far beyond common's imagination, and his strength is also unfathomable. Hiashi even feels that even he is not necessarily Naruto's opponent now. That's why he allowed Naruto to interact with Hinata. Otherwise, no matter how much money you make and how mature your mind is, even if all the other clansmen agree, he can't agree. What kind of man is he if he can't even protect his own woman? However, Naruto also spent a lot of time on comics. In his opinion, this is a very non-business thing. Even if he has resistance to the profession of ninja, it's a pity that this fighting talent died in the comics. That's not true, and I'm going to do something else. After all, I can't waste things. Oh? What's the matter? Fortunately, at this time, Naruto said something again, which made Hiashi heave a sigh of relief. Well, that's right. Now Naruto has a lot of money. He should belong to the top in the manga industry. It is no problem to give it to common people for a lifetime. Moreover, there is a bookstore in Konoha. It is precisely because of this that he should pay attention to it. I'm going to open a branch in a while to promote my comics and make more money. Why is it still money? Hiashi also has a bit of a headache now. Why does this little son-in-law think about money all day long? Well, after all, Hiashi himself is a ninja, and his family has always been a big family. They have never been short of money. Besides, in the ninja world, strength is the most important thing. He is really depraved. Don't worry, uncle, my strength has always improved. Don't worry about that. Of course, Naruto also understands this, but he can only smile wryly and avoid the seriousness. You can't tell my father-in-law that he became stronger by drawing manga, right? Then where are you going to drive? Hearing what he said, Hiashi can only do this. Let's treat it as a hobby of young people. But opening a branch, isn't Konoha's house quite big? And it's not just Konoha. His comics are sold in all major bookstores in the Land of Fire, so it doesn't seem to make much sense to open any branch stores, right? The country of water, after the shipping is stabilized, it will be much more convenient to sell to other countries. No, It seems that his ambition is bigger than imagined. Chapter 6 Naruto's Fame. 4 bowls of Yakiraku ramen, fresh and hot. Hurry up and eat while it's hot. Well, come on, let's take this meal as a gift for you to pass the exam, please, if it's not enough. X2. Thank you Mr. Kakashi. Looking at the bowls of hot ramen in front of me, and hearing the words of the silver-haired masked teacher next to him, the 2 handsome black-haired boys next to him fell silent, while the only pink-haired girl had a smile on her face. With a bright smile, he thanked his teacher cutely, although the corners of her mouth were twitching slightly. After passing the hellish assessment just now, this man also said that he would reward them well by bringing them to a big meal. But it turned out that they came to eat Yakiraku ramen. They are not Naruto before, so it is impossible to eat Yakiraku ramen as a meal. But now that Sasuke-kun and Sai-kun are watching, it is impossible for her to show her dissatisfaction, and it is more appropriate to pretend to be pure and well-behaved. Thinking of this, the pink-haired girl named Haruno Sakura corrected her expression at this time, trying to make herself appear ethereal. Originally, according to their class assignment, they should be in a group of 3. In the end, Naruto didn't know whether he overslept or something, and he didn't even take the final exam. It's a shame that he used to have the nerve to say that he wanted to be a Hokage all day long. Well, if she can be Hokage like this, can she be too? But that's the good thing. That's why she can be in a group with Sasuke-kun and Sai-kun. Sasuke-kun is handsome and cold, Sai-kun is handsome and gentle. Although his mouth is bad, as long as he is handsome, he will be fine. Much better than those 2 with Ino. However, Ino seems to be a little lost before the grouping. It seems that she has not been pestering Sasuke-kun for a long time. She often falls into dull contemplation, and often looks at Naruto, watching him draw manga. But probably not, that's Naruto. After thinking of a somewhat absurd possibility that appeared in his mind, little Sakura quickly shook his head, eager to throw this idea out of his mind. This idea is too strange. Ino is not Hinata. How could he be interested in that Naruto? Even now his comics seem to be making a lot of money, but he is still the same Naruto. There can be no change. Let's eat the noodles while it's hot and talk about it first. It's delicious, but boss, why does the taste of ramen become a little different from before? But at this time, little Sakura suddenly couldn't help but ask the Kanban lady inside. She has also eaten Yakiraku ramen before, and the taste is really good, but now this taste is slightly different, but the taste is even better. Yeah, this is Naruto's idea. X2. But at this time, after hearing the Kanban girl responding to them with a sunny smile, little Sakura couldn't help being a little dumbfounded, and even Sasuke and Kakashi beside them couldn't help showing a little confused look. Does Naruto have any accomplishments in this area? Don't look at him drawing manga all day long, but Naruto's cooking skills are very good. I still ask him for advice from time to time. After asking him, I improved it several times, and now the guests are very satisfied. Seriously, isn't Naruto the guy who only eats instant noodles and ramen? When did this happen? Little Sakura recalled the somewhat silly figure in her memory. She only remembered that Naruto used to be yelling all day long, being silly, and often courting her. But about a year or 2 ago, he suddenly became very silent, basically saying nothing, drawing manga in class, and chatting with Hinata and Shikamaru the rest of the time. It seems that I haven't talked to her anymore. Of course, it's just right. She hopes that this annoying spirit will stop coming. Uzumaki Naruto. I've also heard about him, and he's doing well now. Does Kakashi-sensei know him too? Just at this time, Kakashi suddenly said a word, which made little Sakura couldn't help being stunned. Does even Mr. Kakashi know about Naruto? When did he become so famous? Isn't it just drawing some manga in school? Even Jonin like the teacher knows it. Of course I know. There should be few Konohas who don't know about him now. How can you be so exaggerated, Mr. Kakashi? You can ask Sai-kun if he knows about Naruto. I know. Look at the teacher, Mr. Sai knows too? No way. When did Naruto become so famous? Mr. Sai is not in the same class, but his strength is very strong, not even much worse than Mr. Sasuke. He doesn't know where he came from, but he also knows about Naruto. What a coincidence. You happen to be here too, But at this time, a familiar voice suddenly appeared from the side, making little Sakura and the others all look surprised. I saw a blonde boy holding the little hand of a girl with black hair and white eyes, looking at them in surprise. Say Cow is here. Chapter 7 Sasuke, GKD. It tastes really good Hinata. If you like it, eat more, Okay. After hearing the words of the blonde boy next to her, the white-eyed girl trembled violently like a frightened bunny, then hurriedly looked to the side, and saw several people next to her looking at her in this direction. The girl also blushed. She could only reply softly, with her head lowered. If she could, she might just bury her head in the ground. She looked very cute. But this is not the reason why everyone is staring at her. The real reason is that there are more than a dozen empty bowls beside her. She looks so petite and cute. I didn't expect to be so edible. Maybe it was because she felt shy when being stared at by others, or maybe it was because she couldn't refuse Naruto's request, so she kept her head buried in eating. I'm sorry to say it, but the more she ate, the more she ate. Speaking of which, you are now in a small team. You have all become ninjas. Congratulations. Originally, Naruto's important partners and mentors were supposed to be in the original book, but now he doesn't seem to have the slightest feeling, that is, a Sasuke is still familiar. It's true that we are on a first team, but Naruto, why didn't you come to the exam before? If you passed, maybe we are on a first team. After seeing Naruto speak, no one answered for a while. Little Sakura also answered with some embarrassment. Also, there is only one Sasuke-kun and she knows Naruto, and Sasuke-kun's character. How could he answer him? But unexpectedly, Sasuke actually nodded at this time. Maybe. But Naruto didn't seem to care about her appearance. He just responded with a light smile, and then continued to look at Hinata with a smile. TSK, she was so kind to help him relieve the embarrassment. Didn't she even say thank you? Having said that, is his relationship with Hinata already so good? He was able to get the shy Hinata to join him for dinner. But little Sakura was still a little upset. It's not that she likes Naruto, it's just that the gap is a bit big. This guy Naruto used to follow her ass and yelled that he liked her, but now he treats her so coldly, and he is very enthusiastic about Hinata, who has always been taciturn and shy. Naruto, is your manga updated? But at this time, Sasuke, who had been silent at the side, suddenly said a word, which made the little Sakura who was still a little bit dumbfounded. Sasuke-kun also reads Naruto's manga? The drawing is finished, but it hasn't been posted yet. Why, are you eager to see it? He thought Mr. Sasuke was him. How could such a cold person like Mr. Sasuke? Well, I want to see the follow-up. If you finish drawing that part, I will come to you. But what Sasuke said next completely stunned little Sakura. Is this still the aloof Sasuke-kun? Little Sakura really can't imagine that a person like Sasuke-kun can read manga and be so fascinated by it? Oh, you mean Natsu swallowed Luxus Raiden in Fairy Tail, right? Don't worry, it's already been drawn there. I'm quite satisfied with the fighting scene. I should be able to print it in my shop tomorrow. If some come out, I will ask the clerk to leave a copy for you. Oh, that's good. After listening to Naruto's words, the expressionless Sasuke breathed a sigh of relief, and the expression on his face eased a lot, making little Sakura swallow her saliva, not knowing what was going on. But for Sasuke, he doesn't want to watch those bloody plots, but the battle scenes inside. The male protagonist uses flames. Like him, he is also good at using fire-style ninjutsu, but he cannot wrap flames around his hands like the male protagonist in it, or even directly swallow flames as his own energy. It is of course impossible to copy completely, but through the understanding of these comics, as well as his own analysis, his control and understanding of the fire attribute chakra is much stronger than before. For example, he can attach his flame to the high-temperature resistant blade, or thunder and lightning. It's a pity that his current strength is not enough, and he can only add one attribute, but he believes that he must be able to create some kind of thunder flame mode. So now while he is working hard to practice every day, he is also waiting for the update of Naruto's comics. If there are fighting scenes, or scenes such as ability explanations, he will put special marks on them all, compared to him alone. The effect of practice is much better. What, Naruto? This is our current Jonin sensei. Take Kakashi sensei. This is our new team member Sai. Let's get to know each other. Well, I know, a member of Root. Little Sakura, who just felt the atmosphere was awkward and wanted to change the subject, read this word and showed a confused look. But the expressions of Kakashi and Sai on the side suddenly changed. This guy actually knows this kind of thing? Chapter 8. Why call you teacher? Use Uzumaki Naruto, you're famous. I've heard of your name a long time ago, and I've always wanted to get to know you. After being a little surprised for a while, Sai reacted quickly, and then said with a smile as usual, but the smile looked fake, and there was no emotion in it, just like wearing a mask. In fact, it is also true, there is no normal person in the Root. Sai is not bad. It's nothing to look up to. But your smile is too fake, it's better not to laugh, it doesn't look so hypocritical. When Naruto's voice fell, not only the faces of others were a little weird, but even Sai's own smile froze. Although everyone can see it, Naruto is the first to say it so directly. Naruto. Little Sakura called out to Naruto, tangled, as if trying to persuade him. She knows that Naruto is a person who can never hide his words. He just says what he has. He used to be so stupid and said it without thinking. But now his personality seems to have changed, but this mouth seems to be more direct. It's unscrupulous at all. But Naruto didn't care about Sakura's words at all. He just ate ramen by himself, and occasionally added some side dishes to Hinata. To be honest, he didn't really want to pay attention to little Sakura, and didn't want to have too much contact with her. It's not that because he is so dedicated to Hinata, other women are not women or something. He also has some common problems of men, and he has thought about certain things. But only little Sakura, who he never considered. There are quite a lot of reasons, but they don't have any intersection here, so don't worry too much. He so my smile looks fake? But I don't know it very well. Can you teach me how to do it? Even say I ignored little Sakura, just continued to look at Icheng with a smile, although there was still no smile in those cold eyes. According to Danzo-sama's order, it is to collect as much information as possible about Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto. Uchiha Sasuke. He probably can already tell a little bit. But this Uzumaki Naruto, to be honest, he feels as if the other party knows him well. Let the masked man next to you beat you up with his fists, and you shouldn't be able to laugh. X5. However, after hearing Naruto's words, everyone present was a little speechless. Hinata, who had been quietly listening to Naruto's words, couldn't help subconsciously covering her small mouth and laughing softly, but soon realized that her behavior was very rude, and quickly lowered her head with a blushing face and gently tugged on Naruto's sleeve, signaling him not to say such things. Of course, her small strength was not considered dissuading at all, not even coquettish. It only made Naruto smile, then patted her little hand, and Hinata immediately retracted it nervously. Hee. This is indeed true, Mr. Kakashi. Do you have any ideas? I have no idea, and I don't want to do that to my subordinates, but Naruto, you know my name anyway, so you don't need to call me by the name, do you? Oh, Kakashi, it's alright. Anyway, let's add a teacher. Rao is as calm as Kakashi, and at this moment he couldn't help but spit at Naruto's words. This kid is really neither big nor young, at least he is older. This kid has been around for more than one round, yet he is still so direct. However, the conversation between the two of them still made the people next to them a little tangled. Unexpectedly, these two people still know each other, and the relationship seems to be surprisingly good. Mr. Kakashi is such a troublesome person. It seems that he is unexpectedly helpless with Naruto. I'm not a ninja, let alone your student. Why should I call you a teacher, and you can't teach me anything? This guy is too arrogant. After all, he is also a jonin. But the little Sakura also understands that Naruto has no self-motivation and doesn't know anything about fighting at all. It's not strange that he doesn't understand jonin's strength, and it's not a lie. It seems to be the same. Speaking of which, what are you going to do now? Of course, Kakashi also understood that Naruto was telling the truth. I don't have any preparations, I just plan to open a branch in the country of water in a while, and maybe I can entrust you to help me take a look at it. XN. Is this called unprepared? Chapter 9 Really Fragrant. Please give me the latest volume of Shinigami. Give me a copy of the complete works of Fairy Tail, Dragon Ball. Your business here is quite good. Speaking of the business in the store, don't you take care of it yourself? Looking at the crowded crowd not far away, the white-eyed girl with shoulder-length short hair was a little surprised, but she still looked a little dissatisfied at the blonde boy sitting in front of her drinking tea with a relaxed expression. He said he was working hard, but she and her sister came to watch for a long time, only to see his shop assistants busy outside, but he himself was sitting here all the time, drinking tea relaxedly, just like an old man. It's just as leisurely. It's not fair like this. It's normal. I pay them very high wages, and every day of the month is twice the wages, and there are commissions. They are eager to do more work. Don't think that only physical labor is considered a contribution, little Hanabi. What? You can do whatever you want with money. Why does this guy have so many fallible reasons every time? Hanabi felt a little offended by the man's blandishments. Although her talent is very good, it does not mean that she just lived casually. She also worked very hard and never slack off. But the person in front of her has been drawing comics and drinking tea. She has never seen him practice. Why can he still have such a strong strength? Can drawing some manga make you stronger? Hanabi hadn't seen these things, and had no interest in them. For her, cultivation is actually everything in life, and becoming stronger is the most important and only thing. But this person is. How annoying. Sorry, you can do whatever you want with money. You, Hanabi, don't be angry. After seeing someone say a certain famous quote, Hanabi, who was originally not good-tempered, was instantly annoyed, and wanted to do it directly. But fortunately, Hinata, who was sitting next to her, hurriedly and lightly stopped her in front. He grabbed her hand, so that there was no conflict. Seeing this, Hanabi had no choice but to give up, clicked his tongue, and after poking his small mouth, turned his face aside and sulked alone. After seeing this, Hinata could only look at Hanabi with a wry smile, as if to appease the little one. After patting her little hand lightly like an animal, she let go. This time, Hanabi's hand was finally much more secure. But for Hanabi, what makes her feel even more depressed is not someone's arrogant attitude of getting something for nothing, but her sister's strength has become stronger again. There was no sign of her sneak attack just now, and she didn't intend to hold back, because she knew that she couldn't do anything to this man at all. But not long after the shot, her hand was completely dispelled by an extremely soft force. In the end, it was like hitting a sponge, and she couldn't play what it should have at all. strength. This is indeed a method of using gentle fist, a technique of unloading force. Only they with white eyes can easily do things that common people can't imagine. But what my elder sister is doing now is beyond her imagination. Elder sister's guardian trigrams is getting stronger and stronger. Last time she attacked for more than 10 minutes without being able to attack at all. No matter what kind of attack it was, it couldn't cause harm to her defense. But this trick was taught to her by others, and the person who taught her was your guardian trigrams has made great progress. It seems that you have been working hard recently. No, thanks to Naruto-kun's teaching. Seeing his elder sister immediately shy like a young daughter-in-law just because of a compliment, Hanabi also continued to cast a depressed glance at the smiling man in front of him. What did he teach you, my sis? Didn't he just give you a comic book? What is that book called? The Strongest Disciple. It seems to be something called Empty Control Circle. Woo. Hanabi, have you read what's inside? After hearing Hanabi's complaint, Hinata's body suddenly trembled violently, and then asked Hanabi excitedly, which surprised Hanabi. No, what happened to that manga? My elder sister usually speaks in a low voice like a mosquito. Why is it louder this time? No, nothing. There must be a ghost. Seeing her elder sister waving her hands in a hurry this time, trying to hide her appearance, Hanabi's curiosity was even more vigorous. Hey, can you lend me that comic? Well, just watch it if you want to. Naruto-kun? ? Chapter 10 Sister-in-law. Hey, why does the tight safety pants of the girl in The Strongest Disciple look so rough? You drew too much detail. It's too shameless. This empress's chest is too big. It doesn't feel like a normal person's. Don't just draw on your own mind. Nami's legs are so long. I don't think I've seen such a person in real life. I don't know if I can be like this in the future. Hey, brother-in-law, hurry up and update today's Shinigami. Nilu looks super handsome as an adult. I want to see it. Hanabi, please give me a break too. I've been drawing a lot lately. After hearing the childish and coquettish voice from behind, Naruto glanced over helplessly, looking at the childish and cute little face smiling like a blooming red flower. Eh? No, people really want to continue watching the follow-up lot. Brother-in-law please . Although this sweet look is cute, but it's only been a month, why does this girl seem to be a different person? Completely changed her temper. It is almost the same as her in Boruto biography. Okay, I'm afraid of you. Shadow clone technique. Sighing, he put the index and middle fingers of both hands into a cross gesture, and more than a dozen shadow clones soon appeared around, and began to work quickly. The division of labor was clear and the efficiency was very high. 3 people draw on the same paper at the same time. He brother-in-law is amazing. After seeing this scene, Hanabi's small mouth also began to W, turning into a cat's mouth with a smile, full of cunning but cute meaning. I always thought that drawing manga is a very simple thing, but I didn't expect that. Brother-in-law, you are training yourself by drawing manga. It's amazing. Hanabi continued to put his arms around Naruto's neck with a smile, and pushed his chin to Naruto's shoulder, sighing with admiration. The movements are fast, multitasking, and the coordination is extremely tacit. This kind of thing can not only be used in drawing manga, but also in battle. Now she understood why her brother-in-law was so strong. He didn't stick to the most basic way of practice at all, but did more research on the details, and was able to use every ounce of strength to perfection. This is what she should really learn. When I first read the comics, I didn't find anything, but I thought the girls he drew were so shy, wearing revealing clothes all day long, and some of them were tightly wrapped. But the color and details looked so different, even more astringent. It's an LSP at all. How could he draw such a bad caricature? But later, when she saw the tricks such as air-controlling circle and split-hanging palm, she really found it more interesting as she watched it, and then she started to learn it in a decent way. She didn't expect it to be really. I have learned a lot and I feel much stronger than before. It's not that her family's gentle fist is not as good as these tricks. She still uses gentle fist now, but after reading these, she can feel that many of these tricks can be integrated into their gentle fist. There are a lot of skills to speak of. Although she doesn't want to admit it, the fact is the gentle fist still has many airborne tricks that can be improved, and she has recently used some tricks on the adults in the clan. Note that it is recently, indicating that this is not Naruto's copying Hyuga's ability, but that the Hyuga family has recognized Naruto's strength and began to admit to learning from Naruto. Of course, the training methods of many people in the clan are based on Naruto's training. Hanabi used to think that Naruto was just lucky and very talented. But relying on his talent, he didn't work hard at all, and got everything that others dreamed of. But now, it's actually indistinguishable from his own hard work. It's open. Hanabi, stop hugging Naruto-kun like this. Let Naruto-kun work first. It's tiring to be distracted like this. At this time, Hinata, who had been sitting by the side without speaking, couldn't help but speak. The recent Hanabi's attitude towards Naruto is simply a 180-degree turn, completely exceeding her expectations. Of course, This is a good thing. In Hinata's situation, it is impossible to say that she will think of some bad things. But now Hinata is still a little worried. Naruto-kun has been working very hard to catch up with the sketches. Several books seem to be updated. She already feels her eyes are blurred just by looking at them. But unfortunately, she can't help at all in this regard. Or, I don't know how to help at all. There are too many people, and everyone is busy with their own affairs. If she joins in, it may just be a disservice. So, Kid Hanabi, stop pestering Naruto-kun here. It will be very distracting. I started to feel sorry for my brother-in-law so soon, or is it because I'm jealous? Woo. Hanabi, what are you talking about? I'm not talking nonsense. But sister, don't worry, my brother-in-law will go to the country of water with me. He will definitely not dare to be bothered. Chapter 11. Go to the country of water. Konoha, Hokage office. Are all of your Konoha ninjas from children of this age? It seems very unreliable. Can it work? Mr. Dasner. Don't worry, they are all my subordinates. At least there is me, Jonin, right. Smiling to appease the drunk old man in front of him, Kakashi glanced at the three people with different expressions with the only exposed eye, and comforted them in the same way. Although the old man's tone was indeed not very kind, he was still a client anyway, so he couldn't be too rude. However, his task is a bit strange. Not to mention that his attire looks very poor. Just hearing that he came from the country of waves is already a problem. I heard that there has been a bit of trouble recently, and there may be ninjas appearing. If this is the case, at least it will become a high-priced B-level task. Judging from his appearance, he should have no money. Since this is the case, then there is a high probability that he wants to be an empty-handed white wolf, and then he will sell something pitiful. Alas, there is no way. After all, Konoha's ninjas are generally notoriously soft-hearted, and it may have something to do with education. There are actually quite a lot of such things, and the adults of third generation should have seen it, but they just didn't say it. Forget it. It's not a bad thing to let them go out and have a look. Don't worry, Mr. Dasner, Kakashi is Jonin from our village. Excellent. These three children also graduated from the ninja school with honors. Don't worry. Then I'll just believe it for now. Hearing that Hokage said it so directly, Dasner also sighed slightly, and said a little dissatisfied. Of course, his heart has actually been greatly relieved. In fact, he just heard that the ninjas on Konoha's side are easy to talk, so he came here to give it a try. After all, if he wants to fight against a dangerous person like Cardo, only Konoha's ninjas are possible. This is the last glimmer of hope. Although there are three little ghost heads, there is at least one adult, and Jonin seems to be an elite in the ninja village, which is already the best situation. Wait, why do you want to add these two children? Standing at the door of Konoha village, Dasner looked at the blonde boy and the girl with black hair and white eyes foolishly, then reacted, and then complained to Kakashi beside him. Don't worry, they are not ninjas, but clients. They are just going to the country of water, and they are capable of protecting themselves, so don't worry. Capable? How old is this little girl? Is this considered capable? Dasner, who was originally full of sorrows and joys, couldn't help complaining at this time. This matter is very dangerous. There may be those powerful ninjas who will appear and kill him. If it's a ninja, it's fine. It's better to have two more heads than nothing. But not even Jonin, when they are in danger, if they are caught as captives and hostages, isn't it just a drag? This old man is really annoying. Brother-in-law, can I just knock him out and ask a car to transport him out? This will make it difficult for Kakashi. Let's forget it, but it's a good idea. XN-. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Do you know what you are doing? Such a good idea to let a Nine-Tails Jinchuriki leave the village, and also leave with the possible next head of the Hyuga family. If they betray Konoha, you know it will. What are the consequences? You don't need to teach me, Danzo. I am Konoha's Hokage. Okay, calm down, Danzo, and you too, Hiruzen. You are indeed a bit sloppy in this matter. If Naruto has become Konoha's ninja, it's fine, but now he is not, and never from all aspects. His loyalty to Konoha is not high, and he went out without permission, even with Kakashi following him. But it is really not good. I know, but you have also seen his transformation now. To be honest, I think it is most suitable to let him develop freely, although it may be because Kushina and Minato's chakra told him the truth, which caused him to be interested in the ninja profession. There is some resistance, but also because of this, he will not do anything that harms Konoha. Why not let him go out for a while to see the outside world? Increasing Konoha's influence is not a bad thing, and I am very fond of Konoha. Be confident, those places outside will not be as good as Konoha in the end. Well, that's true. I agree. HMPH, if something goes wrong, you can clean up the mess yourself. Chapter 12. The world is big. So you are Hinata's younger sister. This is the first time I've heard of it. So cute. Looking at the white-eyed girl with shoulder-length short hair next to her, little Sakura thought about the lines in her heart, and asked her with a smile. Now it takes about 10 minutes to leave the village, which is not too long, but little Sakura already feels a little bored. There is no other reason. Along the way, In fact, this little girl who looks a lot like Hinata kept asking questions around Naruto, looking excited, but ignoring them all the time. It was really almost separated and became two teams on their side, except for a few words between Dasuna and Kakashi-sensei at the beginning. No one said anything. Both Sasuke-kun and Sei-kun don't like to talk, and she felt a little dignified looking at the atmosphere around her, so she didn't say anything. After all, this kid named Hanabi had a previous conversation with Naruto, and he almost got Mr. Dasuna's back. Really, how could anyone say such a thing in front of the client? Of course, they are not ninjas, and they are clients themselves, so this kind of thing is considered a private matter between themselves. It just feels like this is a bit embarrassing for Konoha. A child is a child, and he said such a thing only in his own mind. And Naruto is the same. It seems very uneducated to say such a thing in front of the real client. Now she has to show the character of a mature big sister and make this child obedient. In this way, she can also stand out in front of Mr. Dasuna, Mr. Kakashi and Mr. Sei. Of course, the most important thing is to impress Mr. Sasuke. It's the first time I've heard of you, too. But what made her speechless was that not only was Hanabi not obedient, but she said this sentence a little coldly, without any further words, which made the atmosphere even more awkward. But it's only little Sakura who is embarrassed. Hanabi doesn't feel embarrassed. Although Hanabi is inexperienced and this is the first time she has left the village, she is very clever. Except for Naruto, this is the first time she has seen these people, that is, she has only heard the name Uchiha Sasuke many times, and Naruto has mentioned it a few times, and she has never heard of the rest. Explain. This woman is not considered a friend of sister and brother-in-law, so what is she doing now? Pretend to be a kid? Claiming to be her sister's classmate. But her sister and brother-in-law never mentioned the name Haruno Sakura. If you think about it, if you don't have any intersection at all, then you are annoying. Either way, she had nothing to say to this man. No, it's okay, it's good to know each other now. Speaking of which, Naruto, why didn't Hinata come? How embarrassing for her to bring this little girl here. If there is a task, this girl likes to pester me. What? I have a very important task now. I must protect you, brother-in-law. Hanabi curled her lips in displeasure. Brother-in-law's words made it seem as if he disliked her, which makes people feel very uncomfortable. But to be able to come out of the house, I already need the support of my brother-in-law. Originally, my father would not allow it, but my brother-in-law took the initiative, forced to intercede for her, saying that he would take her out to see the world, and my father was the only one. Finally agreed. Of course, she also knows that her brother-in-law's strength doesn't need her protection at all. But the brother-in-law said, it's just for her to exercise. If she can protect well, teach her something more. So this time, of course she has to do her duty as a guard well. You little girl, you are only so young. You always talk about protecting others. How do you protect it? It is naturally not the little Sakura who said this, although she also thought so. Hanabi's attitude just now has made her big sister feel a little dissatisfied. I thought that Hinata's sister should have a personality similar to Hinata, but I didn't expect her to be very angry and arrogant. She is only about 7 or 8 years old, so it is rare for such a small person to know the clone technique. But little Sakura didn't say it directly. Even if she wanted to say it, she wouldn't use such a direct attitude. It was Dasuna who said that. He also thought that the girl Hanabi was too arrogant before, but now he said so again. It seems that this little girl really doesn't know the heights of heaven and earth at all. The world is big. Then let's see. Brother-in-law, can I make a serious move then? Up to you. When he caught sight of a puddle of water stains on the ground not far ahead, Hanabi's eyes suddenly lit up, and then he asked Naruto excitedly, and after getting his positive answer, Hanabi couldn't help showing a bright smile. And a very classic scene naturally happened. The moment they passed by the pool of water, two black figures suddenly appeared from the water, jumping directly to Kakashi from two directions, and Kakashi didn't seem to be able to react in time, only to be able to stand still in place stupidly. But at the moment when the two were about to get close together, a small figure suddenly kicked Kakashi away, then quickly adjusted his posture in midair, and suddenly stretched out his palms and slapped Kakashi hard. Human chest. Kunjin palm. Cough. X2. Winning or losing was decided in an instant. Seeing the two mouthfuls of blood spurting out from their mouths draw a rainbow-like arc in the air, everyone present except Naruto and Hanabi couldn't help but widen their eyes. Chapter 13. What's going on here? Hanabi, my god. X2. This unbelievable scene happened before their eyes. Little Sakura and Dasuna were shocked, and couldn't believe what they saw. Even Sasuke and Sei, who were about to attack, looked at Hanabi with frowns, and there was no one who was about to attack just now in their eyes. These two dark shadows of them. The two of them are not from a commoner family like Sakura, and they know something about the current #1 clan in Konoha. There are many masters in the Hyuga clan, but they really didn't expect to be able to reach this level. If it were them, would it be possible to do this to this extent? Well, in fact, it cannot be said that Hanabi is really that strong. She was just deceived by someone, so she is very sensitive to this kind of sneak attack, and she knows how to deal with it. The outburst just now was quite exhausting for Hanabi, and now she is panting slightly, slowly recovering. After all, the most important thing is to keep herself in the best condition when she is away from home. But her thoughts, except for Naruto, are unknown to everyone, so now everyone is looking at her with tangled faces, especially the little Sakura who still despised Hanabi in her heart just now, and the one who complained directly to Asuna. They didn't see Hanabi's actions clearly at all. They only felt a blur in front of their eyes, and Hanabi's body appeared there instantly, and then the two of them were blown away by her, rolling 6 or 7 meters away. Now still lying there twitching. Death is not dead, but judging by the fact that they are still vomiting blood, it is already quite bad. They are covering their chests with both hands, their bodies are curled up like cooked prawns, and they are wailing in their mouths. The sense of mystery that I saw at that moment when it first appeared just now has long since disappeared. It really surprised me. Eh? Teacher Kakashi, are you okay? And at this time, a lazy voice suddenly came from behind a tree beside him, and a familiar white-haired figure also slowly came out, talking slowly, so little Sakura couldn't help calling out again. The Kakashi that was originally knocked down by Hanabi turned into a piece of wood. But only common people like her and Asuna are worried. Sasuke and Sei are also very relieved from the beginning, and they don't believe that Kakashi is real at all. After all, they have personally experienced his powers, and he is a Jonin after all. How could he be kicked from behind by Hanabi? Of course it's fine, I just wanted to see your reaction, but it's a pity. The client's reaction was one step faster. X3. If it was just that I felt a little unbelievable before, then little Sakura and the others really feel a little depressed now. A sense of shame and unhappiness has taken over their hearts, and they want to use fighting to wash away this feeling immediately. Shame. Not to mention Sasuke, who is always strong. Even Sei, who always had a fake smile on his face, couldn't help the corners of his eyes twitching slightly after hearing Kakashi's words. After all, he is a member of Root, and he still has a certain degree of self-confidence, but facing the two people who should be at the Chunin level just now, he feels that even he cannot easily win. But this one is obviously younger than him by several years. His child was able to do it, which really slapped him in the face. But it's within expectation. After all, she is the future heir of the Hyuga clan. Well, Kakashi-sensei, the Hyuga clan. I think I've heard of it. Are they a very powerful clan? Little Sakura thought about her memory. After all, Hinata was a classmate in her class. She remembered that some classmates said that Hinata's family seemed to be very powerful, but she didn't know about this kind of thing and didn't care too much. Well, it's probably the strongest clan in Konoha right now. After hearing Kakashi's words, little Sakura couldn't help but widen her eyes. Sasuke was silent, but couldn't help clenching the fist of her right hand quietly. Uchiha and Hyuga used to be the two strongest families in Konoha, but since that man, he will definitely kill that man and reform Uchiha. After all, the white eyes of the Hyuga clan are very powerful. They are as famous as Uchiha's Sharingan, and they have a large number of people. Hanabi belongs to the main family of Hyuga. It is said that he was trained as the next heir. It's a mistake, uncle, cough, that, I remember Miss Hanabi should be the next successor, right? Isn't it? The next one is right, but I am not the clan. But your forehead. Hyuga no longer has the distinction between main house and branch house. When did this happen? Chapter 14. Let's die. It seems that you are still unclear, but yes, this is something that has only recently been discussed, and it has not been confirmed yet, but everyone in the clan understands that the difference between the Zong family and the branch house will disappear sooner or later, and it may not. It will be far. Seeing that Kakashi also looked confused, Hanabi also explained to him. The Hyuga clan was originally very closed, so it was actually difficult for outsiders to know much about the internal secrets. Besides, this matter had not been agreed by everyone, and it could not be regarded as a complete success. But because of this, it is even more because we need to emphasize more, make more remarks like this, and put more pressure on it, so that we can promote development faster. She didn't feel anything about the Zong family and the branch house. Originally, according to the previous rules, one of her and my elder sister should become a branch house. Logically speaking, my elder sister should inherit it, and she was branded with a seal. Yes, but in fact, there is no such situation. My sister seems to be forgotten by my father because of not enough talent, and I have started to concentrate on cultivating her these years, as if I really dislike my elder sister. But one night some time ago, my brother-in-law had a candlelit night talk with his father, and that time, she was there, and she listened the whole time. It wasn't until that time that she realized how thoughtful her brother-in-law, who usually seemed to be doing nothing, was such a thoughtful person, and he thought of very detailed strategies, and anticipated all kinds of possibilities, even those problems that his father envisioned. He also thought about the corresponding countermeasures. Some need time to adjust, and cannot be achieved in one step, while others require strong pressure, and there is no way to back down and grasp all the information of those opposition personnel, such as age, qualifications, strength, personality, etc. In fact, At the end, she couldn't understand what they were talking about at all, but my father was very excited. I chatted with my brother-in-law for a long time until dawn. When she went to find them again the next day, they were ready to end. However, she found that the worst-case scenario they had envisioned was actually the worst-case scenario, and they had included all unexpected events, but in reality, the effect was much better. Some people who originally thought they were in the opposition actually maintained a neutral attitude. Many people also felt that they were brothers and sisters who used to be brothers and sisters. Why did they suddenly become enemies? It's inexplicable. But forced by the law of the ancestors, I can only remain silent. Those who are really opposed are actually only a small number of them. They are old and stubborn members of the clan, or they are used to being arrogant and really consider themselves superior to others, and in fact they are not so convinced by their father. But so what? Times have changed. Yes. That's really surprising. That's what he said, but Kakashi's eyes looked at Naruto's side before expressing emotion. No wonder even third generation seems to have visited Hyuga's house a few times recently. It seems that it is for this matter. Now it seems that since Naruto has become closer to Hyuga's house has changed more and more. I heard that special training is now being carried out, which is specially suitable for the constitution of the Hyuga people. This boy Naruto is really not easy. If he said that these things had nothing to do with him, he wouldn't believe it even if he was killed. Okay, don't be surprised, let's talk first. At this time Naruto smiled, ignored Kakashi, but walked slowly forward. Yeah, that's right. Also, Mr. Dasner, please explain the mission this time as we move forward. Oh, I see. That is to say, that rich man named Cardo wants to control the country of waves, so Mr. Dasner wants to come to Konoha to rescue him? Yes. Konoha is our last straw. Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't help me. At my age, I will die when I die. My poor daughter has no husband and father. My lovely the grandson has no family and it has nothing to do with you. XN. Having said that, I feel that there is no way for people not to continue helping. Just now they were walking and listening to Dasner's explanation. When they heard that there was a person called Cardo, even Kakashi couldn't help but exclaimed, which shows how powerful that person is. But people who come out of Konoha basically have an instinct to want to help others and like to meddle in other people's business. Besides Sai, even Sasuke, who looks indifferent, and Hanabi, who was a little upset at Dasner just now, at this moment, there was an idea of wanting to help him. Since it doesn't matter, it's the best. If you die, you will die. XN. Oh, right. Naruto is not counted among them. Chapter 15. I voted for this project. You, Naruto, don't talk nonsense. After hearing someone suddenly say such a ruthless word at this time, Dasner yelled at him in horror, and little Sakura also hurriedly wanted to persuade him. Although Mr. Dasner's last sentence just now felt a bit like moral kidnapping, as if he was threatening them. But this is also forced to helpless, so there is no need to say such cruel words, right? But the rest of the people didn't speak, neither did Kakashi nor Hanabi. If it was someone else, Hanabi would have said it, but it was Naruto who said it. Hanabi now has a feeling of blind worship for Naruto, almost to the point where no matter what he says is right, no matter what he does is meaningful. He must have a reason for doing this. I'm not a ninja, I'm just expressing my thoughts from the perspective of a passerby. Is there a problem? Naruto smiled lightly, and didn't take the performance of Sakura and Dasner seriously, as if he was a person who was completely out of it. Of course, this is also the case. In fact, he is just a client in the first place. Whether these people are dead or alive, what does it have to do with him? But you are also a member of Konoha. How can you? Even if he's not a ninja, he's still from Konoha. People in Konoha should behave generously and decently when they go out, and be happy to help others. No matter where they are, they must have a warm heart. This is the person in Konoha. Does Konoha's people make you feel ashamed by saying such things? That's not the case. If not, why can't I say it? It's a bit inappropriate for you to say that about Mr. Dasner. Isn't he just scolded? If I were to lead Jonin, I would definitely let him go after sending him to Konoha after the task is completed. Who made you talk so cheap? If this is the case, you will be killed in the end. Relatives and friends, is it me or yourself? XN. Seeing Naruto's mocking smile, everyone fell into silence. Dasner also hesitated, not daring to look at Naruto, not daring to meet his gaze. However, after struggling for a while, he still sat on the ground a little weakly, and the expression on his face seemed to look away. You're right. I was the one who was mean just now. I'm really sorry everyone, but we have indeed reached the point where we can't help it. I beg you, please help us. Dasner finally lowered his arrogant head this time, and his tone was full of pleading. Now, he also understands that he can no longer be as arrogant as before, otherwise, it is very likely that others will go home directly. After all, there is no obligation to help you. And after these words were spoken, the people present really felt a sense of relief. Just now, there was a thought of being forced, but now, it has become a sincere desire to help him. Kakashi looked at the members of his group, and after seeing their eyes, he also showed a faint smile, and looked at Dasna with a smile. Please don't say that, Mr. Dasna, we will try our best to help you. Thank you. Thank you too, it was my problem before, sorry. Dasna looked at Kakashi and Sakura Jr. with emotion, but after a while, he also looked at Naruto, and apologized again to Naruto. Although his words sound annoying, they are very realistic, and finally helped him successfully win the support of Konoha Shinobi, and he must thank him. I don't want to apologize to me, but I think it's okay to say thank you, because you seem to be short of money now, right? Eh? Well, I plan to give you 100 million for infrastructure and other expenses, but are you interested, huh? X3. After hearing this sentence, let alone Dasna, even the little Sakura and Hanabi couldn't help shouting out. The others were also extremely entangled, not knowing what he meant. Are you kidding me? Dasna couldn't help swallowing his saliva. After all, the clothes Naruto wears seem to be quite common, and I don't see how expensive they are, but the little girl who was very powerful and came from an extraordinary background also listened to him like this. Could it be true? Of course it's not free. Didn't I say that? I'm going to open a branch in the country of water. It's much closer to the country of water from your side. I don't need to take the long way like before. It's a long-term investment. What I want is that you have the best choice to transport my goods. Of course, the reward will not be less than yours, and most importantly, I promise that Cardo will not hinder you. How about this deal? Well, Naruto originally came here for this purpose. He had no interest in the old man's apologies and thanks. Slapping in the face was really fun, but he never felt that he was a good person and had nothing to pretend to be. But now such a matter of fame and fortune, he has no reason not to do it. No, thank you very much. Chapter 16. Mr. Don't Kill Again. I'm sorry, I lost. Well, Mr. Uzumaki, there is another question about the labor force, that, although there are some young labor forces, the food is not enough. I don't know if I can. Don't worry, we're not just selling my comic books here. There are several shops selling unfamiliar fruits and staple foods that I want to try together. Although the quality is good, I want to sell it, but if it is damaged in the middle or if it is about to expire, you can distribute it to them at a low price or free of charge. Of course, if you slow down the progress because of this reason, then you can't recruit. Don't worry, if there is such a person, we will definitely drive him out. That's good. Looking at the white-haired old man in front of him who was respectful to him like two different people, Naruto nodded with a smile, and then continued to walk forward slowly, while the old man was also smiling and making friends with him. Sometimes I also ask some related questions. Seeing that the few people following him were all stunned, as expected of a brother-in-law. The happiest of them is probably Hanabi. Seeing how Naruto flicked the old man Dasna into a daze with just a few words, she really felt so amazing. Of course, she also knew that it was mainly because of money. But having money is also a skill, and she definitely couldn't think of so many details. I just didn't expect my brother-in-law to know so much about business as expected of her brother-in-law. But this is nothing to Naruto himself. After all, he used to do this when he was a social animal. Accounting, purchasing, cashier, logistics. The company he used to work in was also a very cumbersome company with frequent personnel transfers. His business ability at that time may have been quite strong, so he was assigned various positions and tried, and his performance was not bad. Compared with the current one, the amount actually seems to be a bit larger, and it is still the money in Hokage. 100 million is not too much for him now. After all, his work efficiency is several times or even dozens of times that of common cartoonists, and he draws all the content he once knew. Of course, it will be fast. Now the number of his readers is close to saturation. There will be some new readers every day, but the number has been decreasing, and the total popularity growth has been much slower. If you want to get those follow-up rewards, such as how many popularity points and how many sales, relying on the present alone, although it can be achieved, it takes too long. So, while making money now, I am also trying to find ways to make myself stronger, and the latter is naturally more important. But now is not the time to worry about such small things. Naruto narrowed his eyes slightly after seeing the mist on the lake not far away and a certain snow-white rabbit popping up out of nowhere. I'll go to the side for convenience, you can rest here first. After making excuses casually, Naruto smiled and walked to the side of the grove, and everyone stopped in front of the lake to take a rest. They basically didn't stop along the way just now, and now it's time to take a break. Huh? Snow Rabbit. Get down. But at this moment, Kakashi's eyes widened suddenly, and he yelled loudly at the crowd, who also squatted down in response, and then, a giant machete suddenly flew over not far above their heads. Standing up, Kakashi's eyes narrowed slightly when he saw the half-naked man standing on the tree not far away, and then lifted his left forehead protector up, revealing his Sharingan. I didn't expect it to be Mist Shinobi's Beach Land. It seems that this time I will try my best to make a quick decision. Sasuke, say I, little Sakura, take Mr. Dasna away quickly. Hanabi, you go too, don't lose your temper. Just like the original book, Kakashi, who was trapped in the water prison, yelled at the boys and girls not far in front of him, trying to get them to retreat quickly. But it is a pity that among the 4 children, only little Sakura wanted to listen to him, but because of the stubbornness of the other 3, he couldn't leave at all. Measures. It's really a surprise. I didn't expect this kid to have a Sharingan, and there was a younger kid who also opened his eyes. Konoha really has a lot of talents, but it's a pity that you are all going to die here today. Toady looked coldly at the 2 teenagers and a girl not far in front of him, even though the kids are far beyond his expectation, and even his water body has disappeared a lot. Unexpectedly in a short while the 2 sides are still in a stalemate, but it doesn't matter, their chakra is about to bottom out, and although he has not much left now, it is more than enough to deal with this group of brats. It's really not possible. There is still Bai's AI, although it is a bit embarrassing to find Bai to appear on the stage to deal with these little devils, but if it is really a last resort, you still have to. Oh, is it so? Mr. Don't Kill again. Sorry, I lost. What? Originally, he had a wishful thinking in his heart, and when he saw a blonde boy suddenly approaching with one hand pinching Bai's neck, which was obviously seriously injured, he was completely dumbfounded. What's happening here? Exclamation mark. Chapter 17 Naruto, X3 Mr. Uzumaki, brother-in-law Tilda. When they saw the familiar figure of gold slowly walking towards them, everyone's reaction was quite excited. Little Sakura, Sasuke, Kakashi, and Datsune all shouted at almost the same time, but Hanabi not only shouted happily, but even gave up fighting against the water body that was no longer cut, and turned around directly, facing Naruto. This side rushed over excitedly, directly causing Sai and Sasuke to face an extra water body. Fortunately, if you don't kill yourself, you are still stunned now, otherwise, these 2 people may really be tricked by Hanabi. Okay, don't be so excited, look at you, your face is so dazzled. Naruto smiled and wiped Hanabi's small face with his free hand, taking off a piece of dirt on her face, and Hanabi also smiled and stuck out his little tongue cutely, purely like a lovely sister. By the way, big brother, is this woman an accomplice of that mummy? But Hanabi still blinked curiously, looking at the woman in Naruto's hand in surprise. Not long after their brother-in-law left, they were attacked by the mummy next to them. Originally, the uncle said it was on him, but in the end, he got caught in a few strokes and was locked in the water prison. Fortunately, the 3 of them could barely deal with his water body, otherwise he might be dead now. But now it seems that brother-in-law is still amazing. Tilda. To be able to directly capture the enemy hidden behind is much better than this so-called jonin. Well, I saw him sneaking around there, so I caught him, but he is not a woman, but a man. Eh? This person is a man? Exclamation mark. Looking at the face in front of him, which was more delicate than a woman, Hanabi's expression also became complicated, and the expressions of the other people were a little weird after hearing it. If you don't say it, who can tell that he is a man? Exclamation mark. Sorry, if you don't kill Mr. again, I lose. Although Shiro was strangled by the neck, Naruto was just dragging him for convenience, and didn't lock his throat, so speaking was normal. But his current state is really not good. His face, which should have been fair, was already red and swollen, and there were still several scratch marks. There were several red blood stains on the clothes on his body, especially on his arms and legs. Dripping blood. Obviously there are many wounds all over the body. And he would beat him like this, except Naruto. He didn't want to wait a few more days before playing the second wave with them, as in the original book, so he just had to deal with it now. TSK. Bai, what stupid thing did you do? You're still in such a mess that you can't even deal with such a brat. Isn't your heart softening again? But for Zabuza, of course, he doesn't want to believe that Shiro can't defeat Naruto. Judging by the appearance of this blonde brat, he might be stronger than the other brats, but it is absolutely impossible to be Bai's opponent. After all, Bai's current strength has already surpassed him. But Bai's only shortcoming is that he is too soft-hearted. If it is said that he was attacked because he couldn't bear to kill, it's not that there is no such possibility. No, Mr. Buzan, I am really not his opponent. But when Bai heard Zabuza say that, he was really aggrieved. It really wasn't him letting the water go. When he was waiting behind, he suddenly felt a figure approaching at an extremely fast speed. After only a few flashes, he suddenly shuttled in front of him, and then launched a surprise attack on him. The speed and strength are far beyond his imagination. In just half a minute or so, he gave it to the other party for nothing. He is not dead now, just because the man did not kill him, but 2 ribs were broken. Cough. As soon as he thought of this, Bai suddenly couldn't help spitting out a mouthful of blood, and a pool of bright red blood spit out directly from his mouth, making him frown again even if he didn't cut him. This injury is quite serious. For example, I have to lie down and rest for a while, otherwise, there may be permanent sequelae. Tch, brat, you did a great job. Seeing this, he could only snort coldly, and then spoke to Naruto in a low voice. I don't know how to beat his most powerful tool like this. This job is really a loss, but if this is the case, at least kill this brat. Tempest kick, but But before the words were finished, when he saw a slash that seemed to be formed by Chakra, it rushed towards him sideways, a little higher than the water prison, and was aimed at his neck. The uncut pupils shrank for an instant, and then they could only be forced to jump back hastily, jumping onto the lake behind, looking at Naruto in horror. And after he dodged, the slash didn't stop, but continued to slash along the trees behind, and easily cut 3 big trees into 2 sections before finally dissipating. Damn it, the monster. Chapter 18 Practical Teaching. Miss Kakashi. After seeing Kakashi finally escaped from the water prison, little Sakura couldn't help but screamed excitedly. Cough, cough. It's okay, thank you, Naruto. There is nothing to thank, I just want to solve it quickly, but then I am too lazy to make a move. You shouldn't be able to beat it, right? Don't worry, I'll take care of it next. Nodding towards Naruto, Kakashi looked at Zabuza. His eyes were no longer as lazy as before, but full of seriousness. He was too careless before. The other party is one of the 7 ninja swordsmen, and his strength is still very strong. If it weren't for Naruto this time, he would really fall. Is it up to you to solve me? If you add that brat, it is possible. Can you do it alone? I'm enough to deal with you. If Naruto makes the shot, I don't think even if the 2 of us add up, we won't be an opponent. What? XN. Is this too exaggerated? Exclamation mark. Everyone has indeed seen Naruto's performance just now. Whether it is the easy capture of Shiro, or the sudden kick, it is very beyond their expectations, and his combat power must be stronger than theirs. Much stronger. But to say that even the 2 of them elite Jonin are no match. Could it be that Naruto is already a powerhouse at the Hokage level? Exclamation mark. This is too exaggerated. Tsk. There are so many monsters in Konoha, one is exaggerated than the other. Are all young people like this now? Your students are all pretty good. However, this time, Buzan reversed his previous arrogant attitude, and instead had a low voice, feeling a little helpless. Among the 5 brats, except for the pink-haired girl who is a real genin who just graduated from school, the remaining 4 are at least at the Chunin level. This team is really amazing. He saw clearly the attack just now. The blonde kid just raised his foot casually, and he swung such a powerful chakra slash, plus he was able to make white hits like this. No matter how soft-hearted Bai is, not everyone can defeat him. This kid is indeed quite strong. That's why we say that the future is in the hands of young people. Kakashi shrugged his shoulders and smiled, and really chatted with Zabuza. What is impossible? About 2 seconds after finishing speaking, Kakashi's body instantly disappeared in place, and when he reappeared the next moment, he was already behind Zabuza, and slashed a handful of kunai to Zabuza's neck, but the reaction to not beheading was also very fast, and he blocked it in time with the beheading sword, and the 2 continued to attack each other in close combat. After Sasuke saw it, his eyes widened, and the eye sockets were red. Of course, I'm not crying, I'm just using Sharingan to reproduce these fighting methods. The life and death battle between elite Jonins is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that must not be missed. The battle lasted for a while, and it didn't end in an instant. As warriors who have experienced many battles, both sides have learned a lot of skills between life and death. You may not be able to see it normally, but at the critical moment, this little trick can save your life. Kakashi also wanted to kill at the beginning, but now he deliberately played basic physical skills with Zabuza to let these children learn. Obviously, he is also relying on Naruto here, so he is not afraid at all. Brother-in-law, do you think Uncle Kakashi can win? Of course, Hanabi and the others couldn't see it, they just thought it was very dangerous, so they came to Naruto with some curiosity and asked him. The Hyuga family is good at pure body art. It is a good thing to learn more about this kind of thing. Anyway, the eyes are opened, and now I can see very clearly. The chakra of these 2 Jonin have been scattered all over the body, and they are all doing the basic skills of body art. If he can win, he is better than not beheading again. When Naruto finished saying this, he let go of his left hand and let Shiro go. After Bai was free, he didn't rush to leave, but continued to sit on the ground, looking worriedly. Then don't cut it over there. Others were a little worried when they saw it at first, but seeing him like this, it probably wouldn't be a big deal. Of course, this is also because they don't know Bai's strength. If Bai hadn't been injured, the 4 of them together wouldn't be Bai's opponent. This is also the reason why Naruto attacked Bai so ruthlessly, because he was afraid that if he saw that Zaibatsu was in danger, he would rush to die. He also likes the 2 characters of Bai Buzan. The first time he saw Hokage on his big butt TV, he was watching Ninetales explode, and Bai Buzan died. In the scene when they were together, he had thought about how great it would be if these 2 people could survive. Of course, this is just a small dispensable reason for him now. If necessary, he will kill these 2, but it is not necessary now. After all, only Zaibuzan knows where a fat man is. Chapter 19 Real Acting. It seems that the skills are indeed inferior to others. Kill me. Kakashi weakly collapsed on the ground, with several kunai nailed to his hands hanging down. Zabuza silently looked at the masked man not far in front of him, and said his last words in a hoarse voice. It's not a matter of being inferior to others. The gap between us is very small. If you didn't consume a lot of chakra when you dealt with them before, it would take longer for us to decide the winner. It's just a little more time, and the result will not change. Is that kid the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki of your village? No wonder. After Zaibuzan heard this sentence, the mouth that had been covered with bandages couldn't help showing a slightly bitter smile, which made the ferocious face look a little more gentle. Maybe it's because the person is about to die, so he already feels that he wants to relax now. He has heard about the Jinchuriki. They all have extremely large chakra and destructive power, so this kid can use that kind of trick so easily. But at this age, he can perfectly control the tailed beast. The power is really scary enough. It seems that even 4th Mizukage can't completely control that thing. That's why he died. The years before his death also made Mist Shinobi look like that. Forget it. What do you think about so much? Can you go back to the days at the beginning? However, you dare to put Jinchuriki outside casually? And you are planning to go to the land of water, so you are planning to invade Mist Shinobi, right? Don't think so much. We don't have that kind of thinking, and Naruto is not a ninja. He is a businessman. Ha ha ha. I really don't understand what you Konoha people are thinking. Actually, I don't know what he thinks, and I don't think anyone can know. Seeing Buzan looking up to the sky with a long smile, Kakashi spread his hands and said with a helpless smile. For example, Naruto attaches great importance to money. He can directly invest a huge amount in a small country like the Land of Waves. Obviously, the risks far outweigh the benefits. What can't be done with this money to make money? But Naruto is doing this. Maybe he really thinks that he can make money. Maybe he just wants to use this method to save the people of the Wave Country. Sometimes he thinks he is very realistic, but sometimes he thinks he is very emotional. He really can't see through the teacher's son. If you want to know, you can just ask. No more beheading, mister. But at this time, a slightly immature voice and a painful and worried voice suddenly sounded from the side. I saw that Naruto and Bai were coming towards this side at this time, and not far behind, Sasuke and the others were also following, wanting to see the ending here. Although Bai's body still looks quite embarrassed, it has already frozen his wounds. As long as he doesn't exercise vigorously, there will be no problem for the time being. There is nothing to ask. I have nothing to say, just kill me. A person like him lives on the edge of a knife every day, and has long since ignored life and death. An early death is also an early liberation. I didn't want to kill you either. As long as you can take me to Cardo, I will let you go. Wait, Naruto, what are you talking about? After Naruto's words were uttered, little Sakura had already yelled out before he could speak again. No, she doesn't have any objections to not killing these two people. Rather, she also thinks that they are all like this, so there is actually no need to kill them. But the problem is, it would be too dangerous to go directly to Kaduo or something. You are so annoying. Can you stop interrupting my brother-in-law all the time? Well, but this time, someone finally couldn't help interrupting little Sakura. In fact, Hanabi wanted to say it a few times before, but she endured it all the time. After all, she was not sure what the relationship between her brother-in-law and this little Sakura was. Maybe they were good friends, so it's okay to complain about it. But when she heard her brother-in-law talk about her mercilessly before, she knew that she didn't need to hide it anymore. It's like this every time. Do you feel uncomfortable if you don't talk about my brother-in-law, or do you think that in your opinion, my brother-in-law is a person who can't do anything? I didn't. You do. What kind of person is this? I don't need your escort now, you can do your own escort missions. This. Okay little Sakura, let's go. The next thing really doesn't need us, huh? Teacher Kakashi? I see. I finally left. Brother-in-law, are my acting skills okay? It's okay, but it always feels like you don't seem to be acting, but you really hate her. Well, I really hate her. By the way, brother-in-law, why did you ask me to find a breakthrough from her and say we want to separate? It's nothing, I just think it's the most natural. She really hates you? I don't know, but I know, I really hate her. Oh, that's the best. Chapter 20 Mr. Cardo, please sign for me. If you don't kill you trash. It's fine if you can't kill the target. How dare you escape back in such a mess? Looking at the mummy lying on the hospital bed in front of him, Cardo shouted at him angrily. This bastard usually flaunts the hype, but when he meets a master, he turns into this useless look. The original appearance was miserable enough, but now that the whole body is wrapped up, and the injury is so serious, it seems that it is really useless. If I had known earlier, it would be better to let all the ninjas behind me go up. Just 1, 2 things. It is really not enough to watch. It was just an accidental miss this time. Next time, I will put their heads in front of you with my own hands. Zabuzan's voice still sounded so gloomy, even though he had been seriously injured to this extent. His eyes were still cold, which made Cardo and the group of ninjas and bodyguards behind him feel it a little cold on the back. Then I'll give you another chance, this trash. If you miss again, just get lost. Cardo broke out in a cold sweat, but his tone was still very tough. as if he was driving Zabuzan like a dog. Of course, this kind of attitude is very normal. That's what wandering ninjas are like. If you succeed, you can still be a master, but if you fail, you are just a dog. Mr. Cardo, may I ask, are there any powerful ninjas under your command? In fact, there are 3 masters sent by Konoha. Although we can suppress each other one-on-one, it is very difficult for us to have this extra person. Difficult to do. But at this time, Bei calmly put forward a condition, which seemed reasonable. But Kado couldn't help being furious after hearing it. The group behind me are all masters. If you can't do it, get out now. Kado yelled at Bei angrily, and the group of masters behind him all approached with malicious intentions. Well, in fact, most of them are only common people. There are only a few genin shunins, and none jonin. After all, if you want to hire jonin, the cost is relatively high. It's not that Kado has no money, it's just that the richer people are, the more stingy they are in some aspects. To deal with a small wave country, there is no need to hire so many powerful ninjas, and Kado himself is actually serious about the strength of ninjas. I don't know much about it, but I just think that the actual strength of ninjas is like that, and the asking price is so high, it's better to hire more common people. He can't resist dozens or hundreds of masters alone. Originally, I wanted to say that I had already paid half of the deposit, and let the 2 trash try again, but looking at it now, I just let them go. That's good. But unfortunately, he has no chance to change it. Bei wearing a mask suddenly let out a hearty voice, and then suddenly his whole figure disappeared in place, and then he flashed, and appeared in front of Kado in an instant, and grabbed his neck with his right hand. Directly he picked it up. What you do? Let go of the boss. Court death. All kinds of noisy roars sounded immediately. Seeing this scene, everyone wanted to rush directly to protect their benefactor. But it's a pity that Bei directly took the fat man in his hand as if it was a football, and easily lifted it over and pointed it at the crowd, making it impossible for this group of so-called masters to move forward. Let all your dogs get out. If you dare to say anything else, I will pinch your throat directly. Cough. You guys get out of here quickly. Did you hear me? After finally escaping from the dead, Kado, who had a chance to breathe, eased his breathing, and quickly shouted to the subordinates behind him. After everyone heard this, they were naturally forced to retreat. Otherwise, they really won't get a penny. You let go first. Talk well if you have something to say. Seeing that the lackeys were all gone quickly, Kado also hurriedly said to Bei. His voice was full of tension, and he completely lost the previous arrogance. How could he have thought that the trash who was just like a dog just now suddenly changed his offensive and directly bit back? Don't be so nervous, Mr. Cardo, I just want to cooperate with you. Fortunately, Bei really let go of him at this time, and his voice sounded pleasant and friendly. What cooperation? Of course, the current Kajuo would not think he was kind, and would not dare to run away at all. There are more than 3 meters away from the door, enough for this lunatic to kill him several times. Damn thing. When you have the chance, you must kill the 2 of them. I just want to make some agreements. In the future, you will give me the best ship and the best discount for the goods from the land of waves to the land of water. Of course, I will also give you high-quality goods. You just need to sign just a few names. However, when he saw Bei taking out a stack of documents from his arms, Kado felt that he seemed to be trapped. Chapter 21 Happy Cooperation These. What's the use of you making these? Cardo is naturally not a simple idiot, especially in terms of business. He is naturally shrewd and ruthless enough to be able to get to this point. Although he was terrified in his heart, he still looked at the contents of these papers more, and it was actually just a contract. It is about the passage contract for sea transportation from the land of fire to the land of water. The 2 parties signed, one is his company, and the other, it's Konoha. What is going on? We were defeated by Konoha's ninjas, but they didn't want to offend you after they learned that it was you, so they made such a contract, thinking that we can continue to cooperate friendly in the future, and try not to damage the relationship between the 2 parties. Benefits, roughly like this. If this is the case, it is understandable. After Kado heard these words, he couldn't help but relax a little bit, and his eyes even started to light up a little, like a weasel seeing a chicken. Well, it might actually be about the same. In fact, there is no need to say that in vain. He himself originally planned to cooperate with the country of fire, especially Konoha. Originally, this small country is very suitable as a transportation hub between the country of fire and the country of water, and not only the country of water, but also many other countries, including the country of thunder, are also suitable for this road. If this effect is included, if it is in the middle, it will be much more convenient for him to transport the goods. Of course, it refers to things like weapons, DP, and other contraband. And the comic books, local fruits, homemade specialties written on this contract. Maybe there are some profits. After all, there are really not many of these things in the relatively closed water country. Of course they are different from his own. The goods are definitely incomparable. But this contract actually came at the right time. It just happened to be an open transaction. Even if he doesn't sign it now, he will definitely have to take the initiative to find the local chamber of commerce in the country of fire, and maybe even engage in some treats and bribes, which is very troublesome. This kid and Zabuza are doing this now, probably because they want to get a share of the pie. Maybe I discussed it with a ninja on Konoha's side, and I got some benefits. It looks very rough, but I didn't expect it to be quite good at making small calculations. Since this is the case, he can sign with confidence. Anyway, who he is, the other party must be clear about it. The business he is doing is a big deal behind the scenes. These people want to follow the clear path. He wants to follow the secret path, and it is exactly what he wants. It seems that Konoha's people have already known the reason why the old man asked for help, but they didn't intend to offend him, so they went along with it. He is very relieved. The other party also wants to make money. It is impossible to kill him, and he may also want to do some business with him in private, so he is preparing for this one. Thinking of this, Kaduo signed his name on the contract with confidence. If there is no intention to cooperate, there is no need to do this kind of thing. Although the conditions of this contract seem to be fair, generally speaking, how can he sign such a contract with someone? I will definitely maximize every profit, and then wait to collect money. But for now, it's better to sign for the time being. A hero doesn't suffer from immediate losses. The method Konoha is doing is indeed ruthless enough. This time he is deflated and admitted, but next time, he will definitely earn back twice as much. Well, this is the right way. Happy cooperation, Mr. Cardo. I looked at the signature above, and then took out another piece of paper from his pocket, which also had a name in the same handwriting. After confirming that it was the real handwriting, he also nodded with a smile. Hey, I signed it now, you are satisfied? Kado snorted coldly, and his eyes began to turn cold. The timid look just now had disappeared. Now that he already knew that he would not kill him, Kado naturally would not worry about anything anymore, and there was no need to be afraid of the other party. It is absolutely impossible for Konoha to provoke him for such a serious small business. It seems that there will definitely be more cooperations in the future, but next time we should play it safe and bring more experts. Those trash, it's really useless at all. This kid is already in front of him, and that group of people didn't respond at all. Well, very satisfied. Then, Mr. Cardo, please keep this matter a secret forever. Nonsense. Of course I know Paul. Bang bang bang. The last word could not be uttered. There was only the sound of hard objects hitting the ground several times. Dead people can keep secrets forever. I didn't look at the figure in front of him who was missing a head but was still standing there, but turned around and smiled at the mummy next to him with a big knife. Only the fat and huge head that still didn't react was rolling on the ground, and the eyes were full of disbelief and unwillingness. Chapter 22. The Little Fairy. Brother-in-law Tilda. Why did you come back? I've been waiting here for a long time. Didn't I tell you to stay in the hotel and not come out? Why did you run out again? Looking at the white-eyed girl who immediately rushed up excitedly after seeing him, and threw herself on him, Naruto pinched her little Kyung's nose dumbfounded, and scolded her. What? It's been a long time. It's hard not to see my brother-in-law. After all, what did you do, brother-in-law? Hanabi blinked and blinked, looking at Naruto curiously, like a curious baby. Naruto got dizzy too. About half a day had passed since we separated from Kakashi and the others. It was still morning, but now it was dark, and Kakashi and others probably had already arrived at Zena's house. And they arrived in a small town in a small boat. Followed Zabuza and Bai and the others. After Kakashi and the others left, Naruto continued to negotiate with Zabuza, saying that it would be fine for Zabuza to take him to see Kado, and he was going to solve the rest by himself, including killing Kado. But what I didn't expect was that Zabuza actually took the initiative to ask him the reason. When he learned that he wanted to sign a normal trade contract with Kaduo, Zabuza couldn't help laughing, and then said that he was willing to cooperate with him. So Naruto pretended to be Bai, and let Kado get into the trap. Originally, he wanted to kill Kado himself. Although he had never killed anyone, it would not be a pity to kill this kind of scum. With this strength in the respected world, maybe it is better to get used to life and death. But it is a pity that before he does it, he can't help but do it if he doesn't kill himself. After killing him, he parted ways with Zabuza, and he returned to the hotel by himself, while Zabuza took a boat and left with Bai who was already on board. Although he didn't know where he was going, but I guess I won't be a wandering ninja anymore. Looking at the look in Buzin's eyes, Naruto knew that he might be tired, so that's good. It's nothing to worry about, just a little thing. What, isn't it just murder and arson? Don't think that I don't know anything just because I'm a child. This girl quite understands. She knows all this and can say it out loud. Naruto was a little depressed. After all, the Hanabi he knew before had always been quite serious. After staying at Hyuga's house for one night, talking with Hishi for one night, Hanabi became a different person. For about half a month, he really didn't know why there was such a big impact. Did you kill that villain named Kado? Well, sort of. Sigh, this kind of thing is actually not very suitable to tell this girl. She is only 7 years old, She shouldn't know these things. Finally I killed that villain. So was it burned to ashes, buried alive, or decapitated? I really want to see it with my own eyes. Ah. It hurts so much. Brother-in-law, what are you doing? It should be that I ask you what you want to do. Little girl, don't think about messy things. He pinched the cheek of the little girl in front of him and pulled it a little harder. Seeing that her expression became a little uncomfortable and angry, Naruto finally felt a little better. He really looked down on this girl too much. He thought she should be a relatively simple little girl, but he didn't expect that she had a lot of thoughts in his head. Who is thinking nonsense? Isn't that how killing people is? Otherwise, brother-in-law, how did you kill him? It's not beheaded anymore. It's one step ahead of me. I didn't kill it. What? It's so boring. I thought my brother-in-law killed someone. ... Don't say it as if you are very disappointed. Killing people is not a good thing. Don't just want to kill the other party just because the other party is a scum. What? It's my brother-in-law who obviously wanted to kill someone. Why did I get scolded? Hanabi pursed her mouth, complaining dissatisfiedly. Her bulging cheeks looked so cute. Naruto couldn't help but want to continue pinching, but after thinking about it, forget it. If you lose your temper, you have to continue coaxing with. Because you called me brother-in-law, so it's about the same now. Okay, go to bed quickly, go to the Land of Waves tomorrow to talk to Daimyo about the goods, and then go to the Land of Waters, and the goods can almost start shipping gone. After speaking, Naruto touched Hanabi's small head, then began to lie down on the bed, changed the quilt on his body, and began to close his eyes and rest. Although it is good to take off your clothes when sleeping, Hanabi is still here after all, so he can't take off here. Okay, I get it now. Fortunately, this time Hanabi did not continue to make trouble, but responded obediently, and then slowly. Your room is next door. Looking at the smiling Husu girl who was close at hand, Naruto sighed slightly. No, I want to hear how you did today. Be obedient, or I will. #v#. Hey, be obedient. Don't kick the quilt randomly, you know. Hey Tilda. Don't worry, I will be obedient. Chapter 23. Get up. Because it is not approved, so I changed the opening plot. Well, get up, Hanabi. The morning sun shone through the window, and when he heard the little guy in his arms whispering, Naruto said to her, No, I'm so tired now. I've stayed up too late. I'm exhausted. You deserve it. Do you dare to stay up all night in the future? Once or twice by chance. The cute little tongue stuck out of the little guy's mouth, and Naruto couldn't help but smiled wryly, and then flicked her little forehead lightly. This little girl really has nothing to do with her. Tilda. You, really, staying up late is not good for your health. You should pay attention to it yourself. Hi Tilda. After hearing Naruto's helpless words, Hanabi showed a bright smile on her little face, and raised her right hand, like a primary school student answering a question, holding it excitedly, looking very cute. Of course, she was well dressed, and neatly dressed. Tilda. After sleeping for a long time, it's time to get up. Tilda. Hanabi stretched his hands up, stretched his whole body, then stood up, twisted his waist, and moved around for a while, except for the bare feet. The rest was the same as yesterday. Look. But this is of course. Anyway, Hanabi is also a girl. Even if Naruto is treated as a big brother, it is absolutely impossible to say that she will mess up. This difference between men and women is still known. She just kept asking Naruto to talk about what happened before yesterday, what he wanted to do, how to do it, etc., and also talked about how the plot of the next manga will develop. Of course, when it comes to spoilers, he kept silent, while Hanabi was soft-spoken and began to act like a baby. In the end, she was finally willing to go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was now close to 11 o'clock that she woke up, and then a series of innocent conversations just happened. If anyone thinks anything wrong about the above dialogue, it must be wrong with you. Originally, Naruto had woken up for a while. After all, staying up late or something, for him who used to be a social animal. He has long been used to it, and because of comics, so his work and rest are not normal. Only this time, he couldn't get up. He woke up about 2 hours earlier than Hanabi, but during the whole process, he basically didn't move his body a few times, just because he was afraid of waking her up, so that his arm was completely paralyzed now. Anyway, they have finished their troublesome things now, and they won't be too anxious. It's good to let Hanabi take a rest. There's no need to be in such a hurry. Cardo is dead, and his subordinates have already spread the news, and they have run away a lot. They will definitely go after him and kill him. After all, he was with Bei at that time, and Bei was there. He was obedient to his words, so naturally he was looking for him. But it's a pity. The two of them are probably still floating in the sea now, and they will definitely not be found for a while, and before he left, he even used the sealing technique to seal the beheading sword into the scroll. Obviously, he himself doesn't want to cause too many troubles anymore. In fact, the situation on Cardo's side is more complicated. When Cardo was here before, no one dared to say anything, and everything was up to him. But now that he has been killed, his own family, his wife, sons and daughters, and a bunch of illegitimate children of mistresses, who have some power and relatives, are all swarming up, thinking about how to divide up his inheritance, and his friends of course, worked overtime all that night to start harvesting his territory and funds. As for not beheading, who cares about him? As long as you don't show up on your own initiative, no one will really look for him. Who would spend a lot of money just to find an elite jonin who has no idea where he went? Exclamation mark. Who is Cardo? How could someone really want to avenge him? Of course, Naruto hasn't learned about these things yet. Since he came back yesterday, he has been in the room almost all the time. He wanted to let Hanabi live in the next room, but Hanabi disagreed, and now he is outside, so he should be more careful. And he actually cared a little more about Hanabi than that irrelevant trifle. Although I don't know if it's his illusion, but I always feel that Hanabi has been a little too close to him recently, and has been clinging to him. Of course, Hanabi is just a kid, so it is impossible for him to understand those things. He must have thought too much. By the way, brother-in-law, we won't just go to see the daimyo like this, will we? Otherwise, what else? After all, it wasn't them, but he alone was right. Does she still want to meet the daimyo together? Chapter 24 Hanabi's Momentum. When Naruto, who was a little bit off in his mind, couldn't help being a little stunned when he heard this sentence. He didn't understand what she meant. Could it be that they still have to buy a new set of clothes to meet that so-called daimyo? He said he was talking about a daimyo, but in fact he was just the leader of a small country, and he was there to discuss business, not to provoke, so there is no need to be so serious, right? Really, my cartoons are full of clever ones. Why are you so stupid at this moment? I still don't understand. HMPH. It's better if I teach you, brother-in-law. Seeing that Naruto still looked confused, Hanabi put his hands on his waist imposingly at this time, then stood proudly in front of Naruto, looking down at him. Well, Naruto is still lying down after all. Oh, so what are you going to teach me? Seeing what Hanabi said, Naruto also became a little bit interested. Anyway, let's take it as a vacation for myself these few days. There is no point in being anxious. Now that he has strength and no shortage of money, it will take time to make further progress. Now he should put more of himself. Put your mind into your life and enjoy a good life. Of course. He is so close to Hanabi now, it doesn't mean that he has any affection for Hanabi. He hasn't become enough to have that kind of bad affection for a 7-year-old girl. It's just that she simply feels that she's just a very lively, cute and interesting younger sister. She is really different from her previous self. This change is actually quite good. Although the old-fashioned and cute Hanabi also has his own cuteness, but as expected, he still hopes that Hanabi can live out himself more easily. Of course it's the momentum. It's true what you said, but you don't have any momentum in your appearance. Seeing Hanabi say the word with a smug and cute face, and waiting for come and praise me. Naruto also couldn't laugh or cry. Momentum or something. He feels that he is not bad, right? It's not that the first impression can be regarded as imposing. Some things can be known after a little time getting along. Although his appearance is that of a 12-year-old boy, he might be underestimated at first, but as long as he shows his extraordinary side, the sense of contrast will be like a snowball, rolling bigger and bigger. This is probably a bit of the so-called pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger. Although, he is not pretending now, after all. He is only 12 years old. That's why I want to change. Watch it. Transformation technique. It's just that when he heard the last 3 words, Naruto, who didn't pay much attention to it, couldn't help raising his eyebrows, and couldn't help but look at Hanabi, who was already covered by a cloud of smoke. I can't see the figure clearly, but the size of the smoke is much bigger than her body. Clang, clang. Just like the entrance sound of a cute character, Hanabi took the initiative to make a voice for herself, wanting to enhance the aura of her new self entering the stage, and this childish behavior is almost the same as her age. Little girls can do it. It's just that, with her current appearance, I really can't tell what kind of little girl she is. The loose yellow kimono is slightly loose on both sides of the shoulders, exposing the snow-white shoulders and collarbone. The front of the body is tightly wrapped, but because of the well-developed figure, even the loose kimono looks very good somewhere. Obviously, the lower body is the same color and style as the upper body kimono, and the short skirt reaches half the thigh, and the bottom is ultra-thin knee-length stockings wrapped in black. This way, doesn't it have a lot of momentum? Hanabi smiled smugly again, but this time, it is obviously much more confident and convincing than the lily smile just now. I don't know where she learned it from, but she even blinked at Naruto. Her appearance is very cute, which made Naruto feel an indescribable feeling. Cough cough. Don't be fooled, this girl is only 7 years old. It doesn't have much momentum. Also, tomorrow I'm going to meet the daimyo of the Nami country. You have to be obedient and stay in the hotel. Don't. I want to go together. What are you going to do? It's not fun. Naruto complained helplessly. Although it is a small country, it is still a big name and a decent person. What is she still doing around here? A little girl. I don't care. If you don't take me there, I'll tell my sister when I go back. Tell her what? Tell her ... you kiss me ... This damn girl can tell any lie. Chapter 25 Cardo's Death. The first 3 chapters were banned, and it took a long time to pass the review, so I only posted the content now, otherwise the effect will not be very good, forgive me. The Land of Waves, the residence of the daimyo. Mr. Uzumaki is really young and promising. At this age, he can come here on behalf of the Konoha Chamber of Commerce, and his future will be limitless. The daimyo looked at the handsome blonde youth in front of him with a smile, and nodded incessantly. I have been too lucky these days. It has been about 3 years since he took over the daimyo position from his father, but as the most powerful person in this country, he can't make any changes at all. Because they are just a small country here, and because of their good location, they are targeted by those rich people. But yesterday, the news of Cardo's death came, and they all cheered in the Land of Waves. And he also met the people from Konoha yesterday, saying that Konoha might want to trade with them, and they came today. He didn't doubt the other party's identity, because the person who said this before was Konoha's well-known jonin, Kakashi. As a daimyo, although it is said that he does not have much strength, he still has this point of view. It seems that there will really be blessing in the future. Your lord is too famous. We are here this time for the common interest of both of us. Please continue to read the contract. If there is any problem, we can continue to discuss. I've read the contract, and I've also discussed it with our Chamber of Commerce. There's nothing wrong with it. Originally, for this kind of thing, some local chambers of commerce should be responsible for the docking. But the small place of Wave Country is only so big in total. In fact, there is not even a decent chamber of commerce. Basically, it is just a few larger local shops that come together temporarily to buy and sell. But how could such a merchant negotiate on an equal footing with the members of Konoha's Chamber of Commerce? So up to now, the most suitable thing is that he came here by himself. Of course, the most important thing is that this contract should not be too favorable. And most importantly, food problems and work problems have been greatly alleviated. Then hurry up and sign. We are very busy. But at this time, a woman with a good figure and white eyes who had been silent all this time suddenly couldn't help complaining, and the daimyo's smile, which was originally smiling, froze in an instant. Well, although this small place cannot be compared with Konoha, it is still a bit embarrassing to say so bluntly. Hanabi, cough. Sorry, I'm sorry. Fortunately, the embarrassment didn't last too long. After hearing the blonde young man calling her, the woman coughed quickly, then apologized, and her face quickly returned to the previous indifference. Although the blush on her face can also be seen, she is now embarrassed. Alas, if I knew it earlier, I would have listened to my brother-in-law and stayed in the room until the end, and now I am so embarrassed. At first, Hanabi felt that this place was really boring. There was nothing there, not to mention any interesting place. Even the food was scarce, and many of them were not fresh. Even if they had money, they might not be able to buy good ones. But I saw from behind that there were still many people in ragged clothes on the side of the road, and some little girls looked younger than her, but they were stealing things, and they were almost beaten, and the people around didn't stop them when they saw it. She felt that the people living here were really hardworking, and she really wanted to give them money directly. But he was stopped by his brother-in-law. You're not saving them, you're just giving them alms, and you're giving them money from your family. Now that you've given them the opportunity, are you going to let them continue to be beggars? After hearing this sentence, she also stopped. Fortunately, because of Cardo's death, some rich people also started to distribute food. Whether it is really kind, or wants to take the opportunity to buy people's hearts, this is a good thing. At least no one will be starved to death. But it is precisely because of this that Hanabi wants to go to the country of water as soon as possible to solve these business problems as soon as possible. If this is the case, the people of the country of waves will get better. Regarding this point, Naruto is also somewhat dumbfounded. Fortunately, this is not a bad thing. He was worried that Hanabi might learn to be bad after staying with him for a long time. After all, there have been signs of this recently, but now seeing her is still very soft-hearted, which is very good. But this girl is going to follow him to the country of water, so she still has to be careful. That place is not such a small place, so she still needs to pay attention to safety. It's okay. Speaking of it, it's also a problem, because people from the Cardo group have actually been there since yesterday. My lord, when will you be able to give my elder brother an explanation? X3. But at this time, the door was suddenly kicked open. At the door, there were a group of tough-looking men. The leader was a fat man who looked quite similar to Cardo. Chapter 26. Is it hard to get overwhelmed? Mr. Carter, I have already told you about this matter. That beach land would not be here long ago. We really have nothing to do. Looking at the obese middle-aged man with a very bad attitude and a strong attitude in front of him, Daimyo Namonokuni also seemed very humble, and even spoke submissively. This man is called Kat, and he is Kaduo's younger brother. After hearing the news of Kaduo's death yesterday, he was the closest one and rushed over today. As soon as you come over, just ask them for someone. But Kaduo's head fell to the ground, and he would have slipped away if he didn't cut it off. Who would give it to him? I don't care about it. My brother died at your place, and you can't call out the murderer. so what's the use of your name? For a dignified name to be scolded like this, no matter who it is, I'm afraid they can't help being annoyed. But it's a pity that the daimyo doesn't dare to say anything to the other party now. This is the power of money. Fortunately, at this time, there is still one person, that, Mr. Uzumaki. The daimyo didn't continue to say the following words, but the meaning was already obvious. It is impossible for his name in this small country to catch this ball, let them solve it by themselves. I know. Naruto responded with a big name, and then looked at Carter with great interest, with a little surprise in his eyes. There is no such thing in the original book, but Naruto knows that this may have something to do with the change of the ending of Zabuza. In the original book, he was not beheaded to death, but died at the hands of Kado's subordinates. Of course, before that, he was seriously injured by Kakashi and was on the verge of death. No matter how you say it, it is impossible to blame Konoha or the people of the country of waves. But now, if they don't kill and run away, Kado's family can only throw the blame to the land of waves. Of course, this is just a reason. He has no interest in such a small and remote place like the land of waves. What he wants is to help his eldest brother get justice for his death, and have an explanation. In this case, the family property will definitely be able to share a little more. Who are you, kid? Do you have a part to speak here? I'm just a Konoha businessman. I just signed the contract with Mr. Cardo not long ago. I hope it will be more convenient for sea transportation. Konohas? Why have I never heard of this? Carter frowned after hearing this. The word Konoha is still somewhat intimidating, and even people like Carter have restrained themselves a bit. Mr. Cardo, I, and the Daming-sama discussed together before, saying that after the bridge here is repaired, it will be much more convenient to carry goods, right, Daming-sama? Yes, Mr. Cardo said so before. The contract is here, although it was something that never existed at all. But fortunately the daimyo was still smart, and quickly followed suit, and directly took the contract to Carter, which made Naruto feel a little helpless. Although his mind is not bad, he is really timid. Probably because he is too poor, and he has lost even the backbone of his daimyo. But if you hand it over like this, the initiative is no longer in your hands. What kind of contract? Is it true? Sato, come here and see if this signature belongs to my elder brother. There are actually not many contracts, and I finished reading them in a short time, but Carter discovered that the signature below really looks like his brother's signature. He couldn't believe it, and called a middle-aged man with glasses next to him. This is Kaduo's right-hand man. He is responsible for most of the company's affairs, and he will definitely be able to tell the truth from the fake. Okay, Mr. Carter. Yes, this is definitely the boss's words. But what I didn't expect was that I got an affirmative answer. In fact, not only Carter, Sato was also surprised. The content of the contract is quite normal, too normal, and the sports are all very common commodities. But obviously the boss has always wanted to isolate all external methods around the country of waves, so that he can completely control the country himself. So why did he suddenly sign such a contract? Isn't that too generous? But Carter is not such a negotiable person. If you can't figure it out, don't think about it. Tear it. What? XNU. Seeing that the contract in front of him was torn into dozens of pieces by Carter, not only Daimyo and Hanabi, but even the group of people behind Carter couldn't help being dumbfounded. He must be too messy. So what if it's true? My elder brother is dead, just like this torn piece of paper. It can't be recovered. Kate taunted Daimyo and Naruto with a proud face, and threw the remaining part directly in front of Naruto. Seeing him like this, Hanabi couldn't bear it anymore, and almost did it directly. But Naruto stopped her suddenly. Then, as long as the paper can be recovered, you won't pursue it anymore, right? Of course. But it's impossible. But just when Carter's voice fell, a miracle happened. After hearing Carter's words, Naruto pointed the palm of his right hand at the contract on the ground, and a golden beam of transparent light suddenly enveloped the shredded paper. But then, those shreds of paper that had been scattered in all directions actually returned to the shredded paper as if they had been reversed in time. After a short while, they all returned to their original complete appearance! What? XN. Chapter 27. Powerful Monster. How is this possible? What kind of magic did you use? Seeing this unbelievable scene, Carter couldn't help shouting at Naruto, but his body couldn't help but backed away honestly. What a joke. What kind of weird ability is this? It can actually restore the torn paper! In fact, not to mention that it was the first time for them to see Naruto, even Hanabi, who had known Naruto for a long time, still had his eyes wide open, with a look of disbelief. Isn't this Shunshanlua, the heroine Inusa Ori of Shinigami? Why can my brother-in-law also use it? It's just a kind of ability, but it's not important. The important thing is what Mr. Carter said just now, right? Naruto smiled, and didn't care about the monster-like expressions of the people around him. This is indeed a nice ability. Yes, from Shinigami. It's just a pity that the ability he obtained is not a complete version. It can only be effective on non-living things, and the fragments must be nearby, otherwise it can only restore part. Therefore, at most, It can only restore the broken antiques, and the rest is not of much significance. But it's still interesting to use it now. But for Carter, this sentence is no different from a slap in the face. I said this in front of everyone just now, and I really admitted it. If I go back on it now, it would be too embarrassing. But, if you don't teach this kid a lesson, it will be even more embarrassing. TSK, okay, I understand. I will treat this incident as never happened, and if I don't behead him, I will also tear him into pieces. Carter didn't say much, but had a gloomy face. After saying this, she left and took the group of people with her. Thank you very much, Mr. Uzumaki. After the daimyo saw this scene, he couldn't help but heaved a sigh of relief, and then sent a heartfelt thanks to Naruto. Although this Kato should not be as good as the original Kado, but against them, the Kingdom of Waves can't afford it. It's great that Naruto can come forward to solve this kind of thing. It's okay. If there are no more problems, then we have signed an agreement here. Okay? Of course. I have signed 2 copies. Mr. Uzumaki, please take this one. Why don't you keep it and let us entertain you? No need. We have something to do next. Excuse me, Hanabi, let's go. Yes. Brother-in-law you were really amazing just now. Just walked out of the town, and the moment he reached a corner, Hanabi immediately hugged Naruto's arm excitedly, looking extremely intimate, completely different from the indifferent expression just now, as if he had changed personally the same. You have never told me that you have this ability. Are you deliberately trying to hide it from me? There's nothing to hide from you, and what ability I have, I won't tell you one by one. But people really want to know. Is this like in the comics, where broken limbs can be connected? No, it can only be something inanimate. What? That's boring. But the girl's mood is like a thunderstorm in June. It can change as soon as it is said. She was very excited just now, but now she is showing dismissiveness. If you're bored, be bored. Well, let me go first. But what makes Naruto feel a little helpless and subtle is that Hanabi is still hugging him and has not let go. Normally it would be fine, but now this size is a bit inconvenient, right? Why, brother-in-law? Do you hate me? No, I mean, let's talk about getting rid of these guys first. Slowly stopping, Naruto looked helplessly at the surrounding strong men who were gradually coming out, and then said to Hanabi, it's really like the dragons in the comics. Let me solve them. Forget it, let me do it. There are some things that need to be taught them a lesson. Stopping Hanabi, who was about to try, Naruto silently looked at the group of malicious men in front of him, and then suddenly his body shook. After about a second, the group of strong men around them all fell to the ground before they had time to say anything. Some even foamed at the mouth and trembled violently. What? Everyone fainted? What do you eat? Yes, I'm sorry boss, but he is really a monster. He didn't touch anyone at all, and he didn't even move. We felt dizzy and all of us fainted. Sato, what do you think? An incredible powerful monster, but I don't know why. I have never heard of such a person in Konoha, but the woman next to him is from the Hyuga clan, the strongest in Konoha. He is really not simple. Even I think. The boss's death may also have something to do with him. It's a coincidence after all. TSK, since that's the case, forget it, and be careful not to release goods on this line in the future, and don't mess with that monster. Yes. Chapter 28, Windsow Woman. Oh the scenery of the country of water is quite beautiful. I feel that the fog is so thick. You'll get used to it if you look at it more. You still have to pay attention to safety here. Got it. Why is there so much fog at noon? Isn't it always like this here? Who knows? I haven't been here. Let's take a look. Well, this is pretty interesting. I'm so bored. Why are they all like this? Nothing has changed. Looking at the unchanging fog scene in front of him, Hanabi standing on the deck couldn't bear the resentment in his heart, turned his head and complained to Naruto. It's been 2 full days, and it's been 2 full days since she entered the land of the water country, and all she has seen so far are countless small islands and endless seas. It would be nice if you could go up there to have fun, but the problem is that this ship is direct, and it doesn't stop halfway. It doesn't even need supplies, and the food is fish, shrimp and crab. Usually eating is delicious, and my brother-in-law is also doing it himself. But if we continue to stay like this, it is really too boring. It's hard to come out for the first time, so I definitely have to play as much as I can. But now, if I just go back as soon as the matter is over, wouldn't I miss too much? Okay, don't complain, we'll be there in about half a day, bear with it. Come, eat a piece of grilled fish. Naruto smiled and put a piece of grilled fish to Hanabi's mouth. Although Hanabi was still pouting at the beginning, he quickly ate it in small bites, and the taste became more and more delicious. No way, after all, this taste is really irresistible. They are now on a large ship, which is a Kaduo company ship, and a ship can accommodate hundreds of people. Some seem to be businessmen, some should be ninjas, and some may be simple civilians. It can be seen from the appearance and aura. Ninjas in this world are very normal occupations, not too different from common office workers, so there are also many ninjas who directly wear a forehead protector. And Naruto found that there are quite a few, but none of them are carrying Irigakure forehead protector. Originally, when he saw the appearance of no longer beheaded, he thought that mist shinobi should still be relatively cold and exclusive, but he didn't expect that it looked like it was not much different from Konoha's side now. Of course, these people do not necessarily go to Irigakure, they may go to other places, but this boat is the fastest and the most stable, and it is the most comfortable to sit on. Sitting on the deck, with the sea breeze blowing head on and the sky full of stars, this feeling is quite good. If possible, he would like to live a leisurely life on this boat for a month or two. Of course, he thought it was good, but Hanabi couldn't help it. It's delicious, but it's so boring. It feels like there's no place to go except to eat and sleep, and it's so troublesome to maintain this state all day long. Hanabi couldn't help curling her small mouth, complaining dissatisfiedly. Now she still maintains the appearance of an adult. She looks about 23 or 24 years old, with a youthful and mature temperament, and a white, tender and plump figure. It can be said that her charm is really great now. Many people today, all eyes were fixed on her side. If you don't want to, it's okay to change back, but you will be with me in the future. Don't leave casually. But seeing her look so disgusting, Naruto also felt that she cared a little too much. Being an adult is Hanabi's attention. His own intention is to keep the appearance of a child. After all, ordinary people don't treat children too much. Worry. Since she is so afraid of trouble, she should change back. That's great, Tilda. After Hanabi heard this, he immediately showed a bright smile. Smoke suddenly appeared from his body, and his whole body shrunk by half, and then happily threw himself into Naruto's arms, looking happy. Sure enough, this look is more suitable. Before he got bigger, he had to drill into his arms all the time, which would make him easy to have bad thoughts. So that's it, she's a cute little sister. No wonder she acted so weird before. But at this moment, a mature woman's voice suddenly came from not far away, causing Hanabi to look over, but soon, she showed a somewhat unfriendly look. Handsome guy, mind if I sit here? I don't mind. You mind? Why did this coquettish woman appear again? Chapter 29 Terumi. Before Naruto finished speaking, Hanabi replied sharply, and the unfriendly look in his eyes became even more obvious. What appeared in front of the two was a beautiful mature woman. Has a pair of green eyes, a brown cross like a tree, like long curly hair. The right eye is covered by the hair, giving people a more mysterious feeling. This little sister still has a big temper. The mature woman smiled, and continued to have a gentle smile on her face. Her voice sounded magnetic, her manner was dignified, and her figure was also protruding. Even a model would envy her perfect figure. Compared with the adult Hanabi just now, but also more mature. So, it made Hanabi feel even more uncomfortable. It seems that the state when I transformed was still too conservative. I should become bigger and more warped. It's better than you. I think my temper is quite good. Little sister of the Hyuga clan, please calm down a little bit. I don't want to quarrel with you. Hearing the woman directly uttered her surname, Hanabi's anger just now subsided all of a sudden, replaced by an obvious look of vigilance. She knows. What should I do? It won't be very dangerous. Hanabi has heard that many people in other ninja villages are coveting the power of supercilious eyes, but only in the Third Ninja World War, there is one person who won supercilious eyes, and that person is Irigakure. Since she was discovered, will she be okay? Hanabi, don't be so hostile. She's not hostile. But at this time, Naruto suddenly comforted Hanabi and patted her on the head lightly. Hanabi, who was still very worried, couldn't help being immersed in Naruto's tenderness at this time, and his expression couldn't help but change. Became milder, but soon became more dissatisfied. Who knows if she is hostile, but I feel that she really has bad intentions. Hanabi's words are very direct, but it's not just because of her first impression of this woman, she just feels a little inexplicably uncomfortable. It was not the first time she had seen this woman. In the past 2 days on this ship, Hanabi has seen several times. This woman's figure, appearance and temperament are very good, quite attractive. Many men, even brother-in-law, after seeing her appear, their eyes are also closed. From time to time, he would sneak a glance at her, and what's even more annoying is that he even pretended not to look at her. No wonder it is said in the book that all men are like this. Okay, you should take a good rest. Sorry, my sister has a bad temper and tends to talk nonsense. Of course, Naruto can't hear her thoughts now. He still wants to hear the opinion of this beautiful woman. It's okay, you are a cute child, but you are not siblings. Don't people of the Hyuga clan not intermarry with other races? The glamorous woman looked at Naruto with great interest, supported her chin and cheeks with her right hand, and asked with a chuckle. Obviously, she knew a lot about the Hyuga clan, and she was definitely not a common ninja. Well, she is a ninja, and she has no intention of hiding it. She directly wears the forehead protector on her waist, and it is also the mark of Mist Shinobi. And Naruto is also very clear about her identity. To be precise, it should be her future identity. Now, she should still be an elite jonin. Of course, her strength is already impeccable. It would be very difficult for the entire land of water to find someone stronger than her. Not real siblings, but better than siblings. I'm her brother-in-law, even though I'm not married yet. That's right. That's really a pity. It's hard to find such a handsome younger brother, but he still has his own name, and I feel a little bit lost. That said, but in the tone of the beautiful woman, there is not much sense of loss, but she is smiling lightly, and the tone is full of ridicule. What? You really want to attack my brother-in-law? Just kidding. For guests from Konoha, although it is the first time for Mist Shinobi to receive guests, we are still very welcome. Oh, by the way, I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Terumi. Please give me more advice. Chapter 30. Good man. Sorry, I posted it by mistake just now. It was the same as chapter 29, and now this is chapter 30. The mature woman smiled, introduced herself gracefully, and leaned her body gently against the fence near Naruto, and continued to look at the two with a chuckle, looking very interested. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, and this child's name is Hyuga Hanabi. This time, I'm taking her to see the world. Naruto didn't hide anything, but directly said his real name, as if he didn't have any worries at all. With such a straightforward answer, Terumi couldn't help but wonder if he was fooling her. However, Naruto didn't like to beat around the bush. In fact, he seldom lied. He just selectively concealed some things, which made it easier. Seeing the world, that's really surprising. Konoha's ninjas have come to Mist Shinobi for the first time in so many years. Oh, of course I mean coming in from the front. Although she smiled softly, it was already obvious what she said. There are plenty of Konoha shinobi who don't sneak in from the front to steal information. Of course, this kind of thing happens more or less in every country and village, and there are naturally many casualties, but these are also necessary. Otherwise, in this world where computers and mobile phones have not yet been popularized, the exchange of information will still be difficult. There is a big gap. If you want to get first-hand information, you may have to risk your life to get it. But don't worry, no matter what, the current Mist Shinobi is not the previous Mist Shinobi, as long as the guests who come to Mist Shinobi through normal means are welcome. Don't worry too much. Terumi smiled lightly and looked at Hanabi's side. Her elegant and gentle demeanor made people feel at ease, but Hanabi didn't have any affection for her, and instead seemed more vigilant. This woman has a sour smell all over her body, just like the vixen that her brother-in-law said. She specializes in charming others. By the way, what is she doing here? So that's the best. After all, I'm here for business, and I don't want any accidents to happen. Business? After hearing Naruto's words, Terumi, who has always been gentle, couldn't help but let out a somewhat confused voice at this time. She originally saw that there were two people from Konoha on this ship, so she kept watching this side carefully. After all, people from the Byakuya clan dared to come to Mist Shinobi, which really had to be vigilant. But the other man is quite handsome, tall and big, with good facial features, and the gentle smile on his face makes people feel very comfortable. He should be a good man. It's a pity that the name Grass has an owner. This girl is not his girlfriend, but she is his sister-in-law. He already has a fiancé. Judging by the girl's appearance, her sister should be a big beauty too. Maybe the previous appearance is the appearance of her sister. It's really hard to find a good man tilde. But what does this person mean by doing business? Is there anyone who wants to do business in the land of water? By the way, he doesn't look like a businessman at all. Who are you kidding? I'm a manga artist. I just want to come here to promote my manga. There are people like this. After Terumi heard this, the corner of her mouth couldn't help twitching slightly. Of course, it doesn't mean that she just believes it. Anyway, it is her task to observe during this transportation. As an elite jonin, especially Kirigakure's strongest combat force, she needs to perform some difficult tasks. But in fact, for Mist Shinobi, what is really bad is not the combat power, but the centripetal force. Once fourth Mizukage fell under the illusion of some mysterious person, which led to the blood mist policy for so many years, which caused the former Mist Shinobi to fall apart, and a large wave of excellent talents were all lost. Now their task is to try their best to show their kindness and restore as many important things as possible. Like many people on this ship, some merchants and wandering ninjas who want to join the outside of Mist Shinobi. But these are scattered people, not people from other big countries. After all, they generally lead a good life, so there is no need to come here to join in the fun. But what is this person from Konoha thinking? Don't worry so much. Why don't you take a look? Chapter 31, Pause for Nothing. Shortly after the voice fell, Naruto took out a scroll from his arms and spread it out. There were many individual words written on it, such as death, sea, demon and so on, and then the index finger and the middle finger of his right hand condensed slightly upwards, and a puff of smoke suddenly appeared on the word Yao. Boom! The smoke cleared, and about 20 comic books appeared in front of the three of them. stacked in 2 piles. This kind of ceiling scroll is not a strange ability. As long as you have enough chakra and have learned related ninjutsu, you can use it. Of course, the space is not very large, so it is more difficult to transport goods, and it can only be stored. If things like food are placed in it, not only can it not be preserved, but it will expire faster. There is also a time limit. The more chakra injected, the longer it will last. Fairy Tail is really a manga. After seeing this scene, Terumi couldn't help being a little surprised. She originally thought that Naruto was just talking, but she didn't expect to actually come up with these comic books. Of course, such basics are not enough to sell. Should this be just used as a sample? Terumi doesn't care about this kind of stuff. Since she was about 5 years old, she basically didn't read these things anymore. It's not that she doesn't have any interest at all, it's just that she doesn't have time. Her talent is very strong. She was born to awaken the family's blood succession limit, and has been working hard to exercise, and later awakened another blood succession limit, which is extremely rare in the entire ninja world. Coupled with Kirigakure's state, she naturally couldn't have time to continue to care about that kind of thing, and after discovering that Master Hyuga was controlled by illusion, she did more for the revival of Mist Shinobi things. Even the marriageable age is almost over. The family members have been urging her, and now she is in a hurry. How can she have time to read such things? Yeah, you can relax and pass the time when you're bored. It's a good pastime for ninjas. Hee, it sounds really good, then let me have a look. In fact, she is not interested in this kind of thing, but because of the atmosphere, let's just take a look. The people on this ship have no problems at present, only the 2 people in front of them are the biggest problems. A child of the Hyuga clan, maybe only 7 or 8 years old. How could her clan members rest assured that she would come out with a businessman? It is too absurd. However, Mist Shinobi is now showing their goodwill, and they must not be violent now. It takes a lot of effort to improve the previous impression, especially with Konoha. As we all know, the land of the Fire Nation is the most fertile and the richest, so they most want to do more trade with the people of the Fire Nation. But it is a pity that the relationship between Konoha and Mist Shinobi has not been very good. Although Konoha can't represent the whole country of fire, it's not much different. People in the country of fire generally don't like the citizens of the country of water. Among the 5 great kingdoms, the ones that can directly contact the kingdom of water are the kingdom of fire and the kingdom of thunder. The group of big bosses in the kingdom of thunder is even more difficult to get in touch with, not to mention that the attributes are too suppressed, so the people of the kingdom of water will not have much contact with the kingdom of thunder, because they never get any benefits. Although many of Konoha's people are mainly fire attributes, there are also many other attributes, and the average quality of ninjas is high, and the number is also the largest, so it is naturally even more difficult to mess with. Until now, the development of their Kirigakure is also somewhat stretched and restricted everywhere. However, if you can really have a good relationship with Konoha, it might really be a good thing. Anyway, let's show it for the time being. The other party doesn't seem to be malicious for the time being. It's something that children like to watch. She probably won't be interested. Ha, this plot is too interesting, I can't do it. Please lend me the next one. For half an hour, holding the manga in her hand, Terumi couldn't help covering her mouth, and began to laugh uncontrollably. Her eyes looked very crisp, happy, and relaxed. She hasn't smiled like this for many years, but the content of this comic still reminds her of the most beautiful and simple things in the past. A group of people happily gather in a place called the Guild, laughing happily every day. There may be some small conflicts, but in a blink of an eye, it will be back to normal, and after seeing their companions being hurt, they will collectively to provoke a powerful enemy. You don't care about strength, victory or defeat, and act only with your emotions. Maybe it's silly, but isn't that the most important thing? Anyway, it's fun to read this manga. Let's see what happens next. If you want to see it, buy it at that time. You don't want to meow in vain, do you? This little girl makes people a little angry. Chapter 32 Negative Effects of Rolling Eyes. Is Kirigakure in front of this? It doesn't look much different from the previous place. After stepping off the boat, after 2.5 days, Hanabi couldn't help but feel an inexplicable sense of security when he stepped on the solid ground. But she was not very satisfied with the scene in front of her. This area looks like a small common pier. There are some vehicles passing by, and most of them are boats, but I really don't see a few of the surrounding houses. In the secluded forest, there is no feeling of prosperity with Konoha at all. No, you can get there by walking about an hour ahead. Terumi smiled, and slowly led the way forward. It is good to choose on land, a wide plain like Konoha. The terrain is so flat, of course it is good to surround it with a circle. But for Kirigakure, where there are oceans, rivers and lakes everywhere, in a word, it is a place full of water. If you dare to build a village by the sea, you are looking for death. It will be ruined in minutes. This is a village, where they live, and it's not a frontline bunker. Of course, safety must come first. It's still so long. It's so annoying. Hanabi couldn't help curling his lips, his face full of dissatisfaction. But if it's just the scenery, she wouldn't be so upset. After all, Hanabi has endured such boring training for so many years, and her patience is still very good. But in the previous half day, this woman has been pestering her brother-in-law, asking for this and that, and when introducing the customs of the country of water, she also seemed careless. Her eyes kept looking at her brother-in-law. Who didn't know he already had a fiancé? And if you know that the age difference is actually many years, it seems that this woman is embarrassed to be so coquettish. Shunan couldn't help feeling sad in Hanabi's heart, looking at Terumi with rather unkind eyes. Seriously, this woman just fell in love with her brother-in-law. If she could, how much she wanted to fight this woman directly, and then take her clothes and punch this woman's seemingly calm face a few times. But it's a pity that her brother-in-law has been blocking her, otherwise, she must give this woman a good look. Okay, if you're tired like this, go ahead and sleep for a while. I'm exhausted now. Fortunately, after hearing this sentence, Hanabi's mood improved a lot, and he jumped happily, jumped behind Naruto, put his arms around his neck, and hooked his feet on Naruto's. The waist was grabbed by Naruto with both hands. When she was on the boat just now, she was sleeping in Naruto's arms. Originally, she wanted to let her brother-in-law go back to the room to sleep, but what she didn't expect was that this woman clung to him and even said that she would follow him into the room. What are you doing here? Go to the deck and look. Anyway, the lights outside are always on. It was dragged to the back. It was too late. She accidentally fell asleep, and ended up sleeping in her brother-in-law's arms all night. When she woke up, she found that the two were still chatting. As a result, the brother-in-law chatted with this woman on the deck all night, and when he woke up, the relationship between the two of them. Naruto-kun likes children very much. Fortunately, Hanabi is very lively and cute after all. That's right, so that Hinata-san also has such a personality. No, Hinata's personality is completely opposite, kind and gentle, more like you. It's exciting to say it like this. What a ghost. Brother-in-law, don't talk nonsense. How does this kind of woman look like my elder sister? Unexpectedly, it became so good. After hearing the harmonious conversation between the two, Hanabi's mood plummeted again, and he roared out, and put his arms around Naruto's neck, complaining very uncomfortably. How can this kind of woman be compared with my elder sister? Okay, don't lose your temper. Miss Ming has no enmity with us. Don't be so hostile. Miss Ming, Mr. Naruto. These two people are still so familiar for some reason. One night when she was asleep, although it is said that I have never done anything excessive, I always feel a sense of discomfort. It's as if my brother-in-law is cheating behind my sister's back. Mr. Yumi, you are back. But at this time, a deep voice suddenly came from the front, attracting everyone's attention, and a group of people stood in a row, solemnly welcoming someone. Who is this woman? Hanabi couldn't help being a little dumbfounded. Although she can think that she has an extraordinary temperament, she should not be from common, but this appearance is too exaggerated. Huh? You are from the Hyuga clan? But at this time, when the middle-aged man who spoke before saw Hanabi, he couldn't help but shouted out. And the moment they heard these words, the group of people around them also disappeared in place immediately, and surrounded Hanabi and Naruto in a tight way. Chapter 33 Misfortune comes out of mouth. Mr. King, stop it. Seeing this group of people surrounded Naruto and Hanabi excitedly, Terumi also shouted at them anxiously at this time. Obviously, their behavior exceeded her expectations, although, she also understood why they were so excited. No, Mr. Yumi, we can't relax our vigilance against Konoha's ninjas. But it's a pity that although these people were very polite to Terumi, they didn't listen to her. Instead, they all looked at the middle-aged man before. After hearing his answer, everyone was indifferent, not relaxed, completely submissive. This middle-aged man looks about 40 years old, and already has some wrinkles. Blue's long hair stands up, and there are decorations that resemble talismans on his ears. He should be blind in his right eye, so he wears a black eye patch. Looks a bit scary. It's not that he didn't take Terumi's words seriously, on the contrary. He was surprisingly respectful to Terumi's tone. Obviously he was much older, but he was able to use honorifics to Terumi. But the problem now is not about respect or not, but about the identity of this little girl and this man. A ninja from Konoha, and a ninja from the Hyuga clan. There is a high probability that they are here to seek revenge. Who is it, brother-in-law? Is there something wrong with this person? After Hanabi saw the excited reaction of these people, he was also a little scared. These people seem to be serious, with serious and rigid faces. But it's too much to show incomparable hostility to her white eyes all of a sudden. Right? What enmity does she have with these people? Or is it that the Hyuga clan has an enmity with the Irigakure people? Maybe. Your appearance is indeed easy to cause conflicts, but it is not so much hostile to you as it is afraid of you. Eh? Why are you afraid? I'm afraid the Hyuga clan will take back that white eye of his. His white eyes. Are you the one who took away the white eyes in the clan? It was just confusion at first. But shortly after hearing Naruto's words, Hanabi suddenly reacted, then widened his eyes, and looked at the man named King. His eyes were full of hostility. The blood successor of the Hyuga clan has always been one of Konoha's trump cards. Normally, It is unique to Konoha. Even if someone from the Land of Thunder wanted to capture Hinata, and finally handed over Hyuga Hisashi's body, all they got was useless blank stares, and Cloud Shinobi could only return without success. But during Kirigakyo's third ninja war, there was a person who won the supercilious eyes, and once logged in the Konohagakyo Golden Wanted list. Is this the man? Hanabi's white eyes also froze for an instant. Some penetrating blue veins burst out from both sides of the eyes, and under the state of white haze, she did indeed see that in all the grey-white world, under his blindfold, there is also this pure white eye, and the same blue veins are bursting around it. Damn it! It really is this person. For this person, Hanabi has also heard of it, and there are admonitions in the clan. If you have the opportunity to meet this person, you must find a way to kill him and get his supercilious eyes back. I am right, but what exactly do you want to do? King looked at Naruto seriously, with a very cold expression. It's nothing for Konoha's people to come here, there will always be, but for the Hyuga clan to come here, who knows if they have some strange reliance to regain their eyes. It's nothing, we didn't come here to look for you. Of course, if you are willing to give us your eyes, we will be very happy. Naruto smiled, and didn't take the people who were waiting for him seriously, but said something that made everyone more nervous. Especially when they said the last sentence, everyone lowered their bodies, ready to rush up at any time. It can be seen that the strength of the group of people here is quite good. It cannot be said that everyone is a master, but they all have the strength of elite Chunin level. Being stared at by so many elites, Hanabi couldn't help but feel a little cold sweat breaking out. This feeling was very uncomfortable, but she still stared back forcibly, and she didn't want to lose it all in her aura. Bayan, we won't return it. If you want it, grab it with your strength. It was not King himself who said this sentence, but a young man next to him, and he yelled it out. But this is quite clever. If Ao himself said don't roll your eyes, it sounds like just his own selfish thoughts, but if someone else says it, it becomes the whole Mist Shinobi thing. It's true to grab it with your strength, but sometimes misfortune comes out of your mouth. Naruto smiled, but his eyes suddenly narrowed, his right hand suddenly stretched out, and he swiped from left to right out of thin air. What? But the next moment, King couldn't help but yelled out directly, because he found that the figure of Naruto had appeared beside him out of thin air, holding a black blindfold in his hand! Chapter 34 Face Problem. What? XN. Seeing what happened at this moment, all the people present couldn't help but widen their eyes, subconsciously moved away from this figure, and then immediately looked at the original place. But they found that Naruto was still standing there, but Naruto who appeared next to King just now was still there. Is it a clone? If it was just like this, everyone wouldn't be so surprised. After all, everyone has been tired of seeing things like avatars for a long time, but because they appeared too suddenly, no one noticed when the avatars appeared. But what is even more shocking is that soon, the Naruto next to King suddenly disappeared out of thin air, while the original Naruto now had a night patch on his hand, and then he threw it on the ground. Is this just pure speed? After seeing this scene, everyone present except Naruto and Hanabi couldn't help swallowing a mouthful of saliva, including Terumi Mei too. Her strength is the strongest in the field except for Naruto, but even she just barely saw a shadow move at a very fast speed in an instant, but then returned in an instant, that's all. Maybe it has something to do with her not looking too carefully at the beginning. She didn't pay much attention to Naruto just now, and she paid more attention to King, fearing that he would make a sudden attack later. After the exchange last night, she actually got to know Naruto. Of course, she doesn't mean that she really wants to pester Naruto, although she is really eager to find a good man, but she already has a fiancé, so let's forget it. So the main thing is to communicate with him in the manga. At first I thought it was very naive, but once I watched it, I couldn't stop it like an addiction, and my spirit was very good. Naruto has a good personality, very easygoing, not like a businessman, but even less like a ninja. And she also asked about Naruto's situation. He said that he is not a ninja, but just a manga artist. The Konoha people have opened several bookstores in the Land of Fire. They thought it was okay, so they opened a store in the Land of Water. It's really courageous, and there are such thoughts. Although she didn't really want to believe it, but for some reason, she felt that Naruto spoke the truth, and he didn't mean to lie to her at all, and he knew all the plots of those comics clearly, and he really wrote them himself. So she didn't want King Liuan to do it just now. If she was not careful and treated Naruto as a ninja, it would be terrible. But what's going on with this scene now? Didn't he say he's not a ninja? So, misfortune comes from the mouth. If he said this himself, I would poach his eyeballs back now, but don't worry, I came here this time just to do business. I don't want to hurt, Naruto said with a light smile, and patted Hanabi's head next to her to calm down the excited girl, but don't say anything to continue to provoke conflicts at this time. But even though Naruto felt that he had already kept his morals, the surrounding mist ninjas felt as if they had been severely slapped on the face. Especially the young man who said to grab with strength just now, his face was even more livid at this time, and he didn't dare to look at his companions around him. But it can be regarded as a little relieved. They were really afraid that Naruto might directly gouge King's eyes. With his speed just now, it is easy to do this. By the way, do business? With his appearance, he doesn't look like he's here for business. Mr. King, calm down. Naruto-kun is indeed not our enemy, but my friend. Although Terumi also knows that Naruto's identity is very strange now. With such a mysterious identity and such power, he shouldn't be getting close to him, and he has only known each other for a long time. It seems that he is a friend or something. Not very suitable. But in this situation, if they don't say that, they really don't know how to ease the atmosphere. It is really embarrassing to actively provoke others, and to be ridiculed face to face. But if the situation does not calm down a little now, the impact will only be worse. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun. In order to apologize, please come to my house to entertain you. Chapter 35. 5 cents Peerless cheats. Who is that man named Uzumaki Naruto, and why has he never heard of it? I don't know, but his speed is really too amazing. The afterimage can last for so long. It must be some kind of special agility. I just don't know if it is something to do with chakra. Speaking of which, I heard that he seems to be a cartoonist, and this ability has been drawn into his cartoons. What kind of joke is this? How can the things in the comics come true? No, that footwork seems to be called ringing. I heard that people with the strength of Jonin may have a chance to practice it. Some people have already started to practice it. Although they haven't succeeded yet, it is said that it really improves their strength. Is it true or not? I'll go and see. Is there any bookstore selling it? Not yet. We have to wait for Konoha to ship the goods together in batches. I guess it will take another week. FK. That doesn't mean talking for nothing. These words are becoming more and more exaggerated. You can learn Peerless skills just by looking at them. Invincibility in the world is just around the corner. If I really have this ability, I will go bankrupt and learn it. I can't help it. Naruto-kun, the incident before you has spread all over the village. It is normal for someone to inquire about the news, and this is not a complete rumor. After all, I think your footwork is still very powerful. After your guidance, I feel that if you give me some time, I should have a chance to practice. Facing the disapproving young man on the opposite side, Terumi chuckled, then slowly poured tea into the 2 cups in front of her, lifted one of the cups, took a sip slowly, and then put it down. The movements are very gentle throughout the whole process, just like a well-educated young lady. Of course, under the premise of ignoring the blue veins with a hash on her forehead. After all, in her line of sight, behind a certain man, stood the little girl who was holding his neck, and then looked at her side with vigilance. Her eyes were still full of the same unkindness as before. It's been so long, and she is still so hostile to her. This little girl is really determined. It's fine if it's her own boyfriend. How can anyone help her brother-in-law look so closely? Terumi felt that she was really depressed. Now that everyone knows that Naruto-kun already has a fiancé, she will naturally not go out of her way to seduce him. So the purpose now is to promote these novels in Kirigakure. So she has been looking at the content of these novels to see if they can be effectively promoted. This thing is actually quite good, and other goods in the current situation. If it can be signed, it will be able to raise a lot of funds, which is definitely a good thing for Mist Shinobi, which is currently in development. Of course, she doesn't want to get involved in the Chamber of Commerce. She just wants to see what the novel is about. At least, it seems that the novels he wrote are quite interesting. But more importantly, she has seen Naruto have used some abilities or tricks that only appear in manga during this period. A comic that can make people stronger after reading it! This kind of thing is too unbelievable. But such an unbelievable thing just happened in front of her. Up to now, she has even mastered the little trick of spinning. Although the effect is the same as when Naruto used it before, she can still create an afterimage in an instant, while her own figure can hide behind and move away quickly, which is quite unpredictable. There is body flicker technique similar to body flicker technique, but this one is more weird. It is hard to say which one is faster in terms of speed. It's too complicated. For a ninja like her who mainly relies on ninjutsu to fight, if she can use the perfect mastery trick, her strength will not increase by a little bit. What's so easy to learn? It can't compare to my brother-in-law's one finger. It's just that this little girl's mouth is really annoying enough. It's getting more and more poisonous. Stop whistling, Hanabi, be quiet. Who is blowing up, brother-in-law? Didn't your previous finger pistol directly pierce rocks and even iron plates? Much better than her. Oh? Do you still have this ability? Naruto-kun is really getting more and more mysterious. Chapter 36 Taking a bath, for flowers. After hearing this, Terumi narrowed her eyes slightly, then stretched out her tongue and gently licked the bottom half circle. The movement was small, but it looked very seductive, and Hanabi clicked her tongue again. This woman has been looking at her brother-in-law with such seductive eyes for a while, and she doesn't know if she really has a crush on him. This bad woman. It's nothing, just practice more. People from Mist Shinobi also have similar skills. Speaking of which, Miss Ming, your family is quite rich. Naruto acted calmly, and pulled the little girl behind him, into his arms, and held down her little head, so that she, who was about to move around, finally calmed down, with a smile on her face. A bright smile, and a very smug smile towards Terumi. Of course, they didn't want to haggle over every detail with this little girl at all. She is an adult and understands why this little girl is targeting her so much. But this kind of thing is really just a child's misunderstanding. She's not that kind of person, right? She already has her own owner, so how can she get involved? However, she always felt that Naruto-kun's eyes seemed to be staring at her from time to time, either staring at her legs, or staring at her chest. Although she is also very confident about these two parts of herself, and many men stare at these two parts of her, but Naruto-kun is not exempt. Of course, for her now, the important thing is not these personal matters, but to figure out the real purpose of the person in front of her. Looking at her own personal feelings, Naruto-kun has nothing wrong with it. Maybe he really just wanted to do business, and when he came here today, he also talked with the village chamber of commerce staff for some time, and she was there at the time. All they said were very professional words, such as the operation cycle of the capital chain, the best shelf life of the product, and what guaranteed sales, and some security deposits were given. I couldn't understand what they were talking about, but in the end, it can be seen that both Mr. Naruto and the people from the Chamber of Commerce are all smiling happily. Now we are waiting for the first batch of goods to arrive. It may arrive in 2 or 3 days. Let's see the effect first, if possible. Ready to intensify. So she really felt that Mr. Naruto was doing it for a very simple business purpose. But other missed shinobi ninjas